want his Facebook, of course, requests and friends to grow as well in terms of being able to reach many and plenty, as well as on the YouTube channel, so that we can monetize the YouTube channel. And that's one way you can support the state of the city. That we'll work out some contractual agreements so that as he is earning, I'm earning, and that's a way you can do it, that we have more listeners and you have those that is willing to use the channel and run commercials because they like what they hear and hear what they like in terms of the information that we'll be disseminating on the state of the city here at Radio on Fire. So got to thank, of course, the owner, Brother D. Williams, along with his able and capable assistant and partner, Sister Nikki, for opening up these airways to Brother Muhammad, and, of course, those that continue to listen and follow us as well and support us. We thank them for that. So support Radio on Fire. Their Cash App is $ Radio on Fire, all one word. That's the Cash App, Radio on Fire, all one word, to support them and to support State of the City. My Cash App is $ SOTC Muhammad. Muhammad spelled MUHAMMAD. That's one way for sure that you can send it. So you don't have to say, Brother Muhammad, how do I send a donation? I get that when you say a donation. But we need the do nation. That's the nation that really helps to keep the show and the flow and the info going and coming to our people. And some of you know you have to make your word bond. You said you want to support the show, but you haven't stepped up to support the show. And those who have, I thank you from the depths of my heart for supporting the state of the city as we are now venturing on our 11th year anniversary this month at WFBR radio station. And so we want to be able to grow there and continue to grow here as well in terms of looking at additional days, but also, as we've been talking about, having town hall meetings where we come out among the people and have town hall meetings. So it's not something that's stale. It's not something that's just inside the suites, but we take it to the streets. And it's not something where we're trying to be some YouTube scholars or have a YouTube beef, as you know some like to do, so that they can make a name for themselves. Some of them hip-hop artists, some of these so-called scholars, some of these groups that's trying to make a name for themselves to put out a new DVD or a new documentary, they got to have a beef with somebody and then have our people trying to take sides. Who you with? You with Tariq Nasheed or you with Umar? Who you with? You with Griff or you with Zaza? Who you with? You with what's the Boys Watkins or you with Judge Brown? I don't get caught up in the foolishness like that. If they're not about trying to elevate the consciousness of our people, they're not about addressing public policies or those 9 areas that our Queen Scholar, Dr. Frances Quest Welsing, in her book, The ISIS Paper, have always talked about. They're not about trying to move our struggle forward. I don't waste my time even talking about that. So I have people ask me, Brother Muhammad, what you think about you with ADOS or you with Tariq Nasheed? No, I don't know ADOS like that. Sorry. And leadership, I don't know them, okay? But if they're not addressing the public policies that's affecting our people, don't waste my time asking me about that, okay? Because it's not fruitful and productive conversation. And if it don't apply, let it fly. But I don't waste my time on that. Or who you with? You with Tariq? Tell me one thing that Tariq Nasheed has done to change the condition of black people, besides making documentaries. Of course, we know the old saying is, the revolution will not be televised. It's not going to be socialized, not going to be sanitized, not going to be romanticized, okay? So please don't waste a lot of time talking about what somebody's doing on YouTube, okay? Because what ends up happening is they keep the conscious community divided, they keep the so-called conscious community confused, and they keep the conscious community acting like a bunch of damn children for the most part, as I've sat back and watched. So I don't waste my time even giving airspace to that, okay? And if it don't apply, let it fly. But I say that out of love. Those who understand it, take it out of love, they'll take it that way. Those who don't, that stand on principalities instead of principles, because they run around and say, well, Muhammad got a problem with Tariq. Well, Muhammad got a problem with ADOS. No, I don't have a problem with them. But that's what they want to do, and waste their time and energy on that. Let them waste their time and energy doing just that, okay? But in the meantime, we got work to do for certain, all right? So with that, let me get into what I want to get into. Don't forget, got to thank one of my major sponsors, of course, which is my main man, Brother Derek. Speaking of, again, what you doing to help black folk? Cultural Essence. Cultural Essence is a family business. So for your latest soaps, all natural soap, shea butter, shower gels, gift baskets, soap bars, body scrub, bath bombs. Don't get alarmed. Don't call Homeland Security. Bath bombs, B-O-M-B-S, yes, or B-A-L-M, as the Bible says, is there a bomb in Gilead? B-A-L-A-M-B or B-A-L-M, however you want to spell it, all right? But give Brother Derek a call at 253 271-9268. This that time of year when you're going to be spending money. Is this the time of year we always say, kind of off the cuff or tongue in cheek, the longest running boycott in the black community has been the black community boycotting black businesses. So if you want something to do, don't be running around here talking about no damn Popeye's chicken. Don't be running around here talking about no Black Friday and you not supporting no black businesses. So here's your opportunity, knowing how much money that will be changing hands or circulating starting this weekend. Actually started last weekend with them talking about Veterans Day sales, right? Yeah, I seen some of y'all at the mall. You couldn't wait to get to the mall. Catch them sales on 11/11, all right? I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So here's your opportunity to support a black business. Keep that black dollar circulating. And here's a brother that does support youth organization, does support women organization. He and his wife and his family, and it's a family business. They're online, Cultural Essence Inc. All one word, okay? Cultural Essence Inc. So support that. And then also coming up this weekend, the East Baltimore reunion. Y'all know this is a city where they love to have a reunion, especially in Baltimore. But this is the East Baltimore reunion. So again, this Saturday, November 16th from 7 to 1 a.m., I think I'm going to do a righteous drive-by because my main man, Brother Johnny G, who I saw, said, Brother Muhammad, you got to come through. So I think I'm going to do a righteous drive-by this Saturday. Not going to tell some of y'all what time I'm going to be there, but I'm going to do a righteous drive-by. That's at the 5th Regiment Armory this Saturday. And the interesting part was that the radio station where I have a show at, WFBR, they originally started at the 5th Regiment Armory. It was called WFBR, the world first broadcasting radio station. Okay, and they've gone through kind of like some changes here and there, but they're still around in WFBR. But anyway, this Saturday, November 16th, 7 to 1 p.m. And to get your tickets, you can give Brother Johnny G a call, 443-253-1073. I think that's Johnny's number. Make sure I get it right. 443-253-1073. And of course, this is in memory of the originator, Brother Ronnie Bell, in terms of the good brothers and sisters in East Baltimore. But everybody in Baltimore will be there. So the old saying goes, tell Shorty Long, Wing Ching Chong, right? Y'all know them. They're going to have a function at the junction. That's going down this Saturday, 5th Regiment Armory. So with that, let me get into the show and the flow, because there's a lot that's been going on over the past week. Also, I'm still waiting to hear from the attorney. I'll give you his phone number for those that want to call tomorrow. The attorney, as we played, of course, last week, which breaking news on the state of city of RadioOnFire, which was the press conference held by the family of Sean Suter. And the interesting part was that we're coming up now this Saturday. November the 16th is the 2-year anniversary of his political assassination. Baltimore City police officer, 18-year veteran of the Baltimore City Police Department, shot and killed down in the Poppleton community. What was that street again? Schroeder Street. 800 block of Schroeder Street. 2 years later, after $215,000 reward was put up, no one has been arrested, charged for his murder. And we know that there were dirty elements inside the Baltimore City Police Department. I saw I think recently, RadioOnFire, you had, was that no good dog TJ Smith around here somewhere? I think I smelled like cowardliness when I came up in the studio. But anytime you want to set up a debate between Brother Muhammad, TJ Smith, I gladly debate him. But I promise you're going to run out of the studio, okay? Because if TJ Smith really cared about what happened to Sean Suter, he would have told us about David Bominka, the white guy who was not his partner. But nevertheless, there is a candlelight vigil planned for this Saturday. And the phone number you can call to get information, you can call their lawyer, the family's attorney, which is Jeremy Eldridge. We played the clip last week of their press conference in which the family, the grieving widow, Miss Nicole, who said she talked to her husband an hour before he was killed. The daughter who says she talked to her father so he would not come into Baltimore City all the way from York, Pennsylvania to take his life down in the west side of Baltimore. But the phone number to call the attorney is 443-559-4384. Again, 443-559-4384. You can call them to say you want to support the family, but you want to know what time the vigil is. I've not been able to get a phone call back from him. We've been playing phone tag. But I know it's Saturday. I'm on air Saturday at WFBR. But if it's in the evening, I'll be there in the evening before I stop on down to the East Baltimore reunion. But nevertheless, notice how the Baltimore City Police Department has failed this black woman. The Black Police Officers Association, called the Vanguard Justice Society, has failed this black woman. The FOP, Fraternal Order of Police, or 666, as commonly known. Of course, F is the 6th letter. O is nothing but an upside down 6, and you know P is an inverted 6. So you got the FOP headed up by Mike Mancuso. I think the vice president is Clyde Boatwright, who seems to be afraid. Now, it's the same Clyde Boatwright who works for the school police. Every time there's a school shooting or guns recovered, then the first person they run to, or the first person that run to the cameras to have a conversation, to have something to say, is Clyde Boatwright. So I just think it's interesting that Clyde Boatwright, running around here like Clyde can't get right Boatwright, all of a sudden is silent about Sean Suter. And when pressed by Brother Sean Taylor on his Facebook page about why he was promoting some fundraiser they were having for Officer Isaac Carrington, who was shot and survived, right? They had some kind of fundraiser when you come down to some restaurant and you buy something at the restaurant, part of the proceeds was going to Isaac Carrington. Well, them trifling ass police officers, black, brown, red, yellow, and white, but particularly the black ones, haven't lifted a finger to help Sean Suter's widow, Nicole, except say they're going to go have a drink for him down at Melba's, which is one of their watering holes, or some of them other bars they like to go drink at, right? So it's an indictment on all of them who know that Sean Suter was sent out there on that day, as I heard his attorney say the other day, by Sergeant Patel, Patel. So the question is, why hasn't Sergeant Patel been brought in by Marilyn Mosby, the state's attorney? She can still do a simultaneous investigation as well. She can impanel a grand jury. The governor can do it. The Attorney General, Brian Frost, can impanel a grand jury. The governor got the state special prosecutor that they can impanel a grand jury to bring out all the evidence and the facts. They don't need no damn blue ribbon commission. Your black politicians from your mayor to those who were congressmen, such as Congressman Elijah Cummings, could have done this. Those who said they want to run for Congressman Cummings' seat, they could have been asking for this. Former Congressman Kwesi Mfume could have been asking for this. Former Baltimore City Mayor, who's now had crawled from under whatever rock she was under. Last time we saw her, she was wearing a t-shirt saying, "These hoes ain't loyal," or I know she said, "The Ravens versus all you other hoes." Is that what she had on? Stephanie Rollins Blake, when she had that t-shirt on last year? And then she jinxed the Ravens because then they lost in the playoffs to the Chargers after that. You know what I mean? But nevertheless, she was a lawyer. She didn't open up her mouth. Kwesi Mfume didn't say anything. Others, state and elected officials, city, haven't said anything about Sean Suter, man. And these so-called civil rights groups in Baltimore City, the national NAACP is here. They haven't opened their mouth up about it. Yet they talking about Byron Allen and Comcast. Who gives a you-know-what about that? I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And I know I'm going to step on some toes when I say it. You know what I mean? I don't give a damn. Move them out the way. Go see your podiatrist. You know what I mean? I don't give a damn. Go get some Dr. Shows. I don't give a damn about no Byron Allen. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Okay? But nevertheless, here's a black police officer shot and killed. He goes out on that day, the day before he's going to testify to a grand jury, a federal grand jury on November 17th. So the question would have to be, who sent him out there? Sergeant Patel. So then you question Patel, who told you to send him out there? Was it Daryl D'Souza who was heading up deployment in terms of chief of patrol? Was it Dean Palmieri, one of the commanders up top? Was it Kevin Davis? See, that's what T.J. Smith don't want to sit down in this seat next to Brother Muhammad and have no debate about. Because T.J. Smith would know that information. Who sent Sean Suter out there that day? And then why didn't they tell us that David Bominka, the white police officer, who is not Sean Suter's regular partner, his regular partner is Jonathan Jones. How come Jonathan Jones and the other officers on that homicide unit have been silent as well? So why didn't they tell us, T.J. Smith, the Farnsworth Bentley of the Baltimore City Police Department? I mean, when he was out in Anne Arundel County, he couldn't keep a straight haircut, much less keep a decent looking suit on. They cleaned him up, made him look like Farnsworth Bentley. He was cleaner than the Board of Health once he got to Baltimore, right? But when his brother was supposedly was killed, they made that a red ball case, arrested 2 people quickly in the killing of T.J. Smith's brother. Yet Sean Suter get killed, they ain't arrested. They was just grabbing people to see if they might be able to throw it on them. I talked to brothers down there. They were snatching people up, but they didn't have nobody that they could really look at to say, his rap sheet's so dirty, we can pin a murder of a police officer on him and the people will never believe him. Now, they will do that in this city. And have done it. Be clear about that. Crystal clear about that. Okay? But yet you haven't heard none of these so-called activists around here say a word about that? Like I say, ceasefire, which need to cease cooning, the 300 men, the brothers running around here with Dr. Andre Bunley, what they call themselves, the Blackmail Commission, right? Come on, man. What commission do they have? They need permission to get out there and march. They ought to call it the Blackmail Permission. It ain't no damn Blackmail Commission. You understand? Because when a black police officer is shot and killed, Bunley, who gets $100,000 to have y'all walking up Park Heights, I mean, the only thing happening is in Park Heights. That's another opportunity zone, which I'm going to talk about President Trump down there in Atlanta. He was touting and talking about opportunity zones and how Atlanta is a major area for opportunity zones. Well, Baltimore City is a major area for opportunity zones. So could Bunley and them job just be to come up there, stir up black folk, but at the same, or not stir you up, but just, tease you but never please you, because the Jews coming back for a lot of those areas up in Park Heights, while Sinai and Lifebridge do whatever the hell they want to do up in Park Heights. Be clear about that. Along with what's that other group up there that's invested heavily in Park Heights? What's that? The Gold Seeker Foundation. What's the other one up there? What's the name? Harry and Janet Weinberg. They heavily invested up in Park Heights. You know what I mean? Harry and Janet Weinberg Foundation, man. So what is Bunley and them really doing? And they get mad with me when I criticize them, because some of the brothers in the mosque, they got them a little group called Brothers Inc. and they marching around with them. They got some money as it came out, and it was the Jews that spilled the bean on them like a clumsy chef. They down there at the table with the people like Ross McNutt and other and Ricky Spector, thinking that them Jews, them Zionist Jews, done turned over a new lease on life or a new gefilte fish on you, that they all of a sudden like the Nation of Islam. So what's the councilman up there? Izzy Schleitzer or something? Spitzer Schleitzer, is that his name? He spilled the beans when they were talking about the fact the city gave $50,000 to Shamrim, which is the Jewish watch group up in Park Heights, right? Shamrim, which means the watchman. So they work closely with the Baltimore City Police Department, work closely with the Israeli Defense Forces when they send them here to Baltimore, right? Now, you start talking about killings now, some of y'all never want to expand the envelope and think, you got Israeli Defense Forces operating in Baltimore City, some snipers sniping off some brothers, right? Get them organs from young brothers that's popping up down in the morgues. Some you know of, some you don't even know about. Young brothers and young sisters, right? So they down at the table meeting with them, and then Izzy Schlitzer said, well, don't just talk about us getting $50,000. The mayor at that time, Kathy Pugh, gave $50,000 to Brothers Inc., which was some Nation of Islam members, right? Then they went further and said, not only that, Nat Oakes, before he went to federal prison, he still had money in his campaign coffers that he gave him like $6,000 or something. You know what I mean? So, but this is the same Nat Oakes that gave $6,000 to that old pedophile priest, Maurice Blackwell, who's still around here. You know what I mean? So, you tune to the state of the city. But all of this is going on in terms of the killing of Sean Suter. They didn't tell us that David Bomenko was there that morning. Now, if he was there that morning, then he goes back in the afternoon. Was he setting the stage or setting the crime scene before he went and got Sean Suter, knowing Suter would be called in on the day that he was off? Now, if I know this, you're going to tell me that ABC, NBC, CBS, who else they got around here? TBS, PBS. You mean Donnie Glover when he can sober up? You know what I mean? You mean Donnie Glover and Hassan Giordano? You mean they can't grab a microphone and a camera and ask the same questions, man? The same Donnie Glover that had a Cadillac parade that was paid for this past summer, that Cadillac parade up and down Pennsylvania Avenue. You get the parade and the charade while everybody else getting paid. You know what I mean? So he had a Cadillac parade paid for by elements in the Baltimore City Police Department. In fact, he got on radio like PM Smith and thanked the commander, Branford, who is the new go-to guy in the police department for anybody, activists in the community want to get paid. And in fact, Donnie Glover did a contribution article in the Baltimore Times talking about the police department because they had funded his Cadillac parade. Then he get mad with me when he see me at Terra Cafe because I'm spilling the beans on him. You understand? Hey, I'm spilling the beans. So watch Donnie Glover. He cannot be trusted, man. I'm just being honest. Do not trust him, okay? You be a fool to trust him. Anybody that's their parade, a parade, paid for by elements in the Baltimore City Police Department, man. That's what they're reducing us to. But you don't see them talking about what happened to Sean Suter. That's the sad part, okay? And Sean Suter was a veteran. But I keep reminding you of that December 12th, 2017 article in the Daily Mail in which they talked about the case Sean Suiter was going to testify against the day before he was killed was about the car chase that occurred on December the 12th. That occurred in 2010. The date escapes me. In which Umar Burley, Brent Matthews was driving a car. They were being chased by Sergeant Wayne Jenkins and Ryan Guillen, Guinn. Ryan Guillen and Jenkins chased them. They crashed into 86-year-old Mr. Eberly Davis, who was the father of a police officer up on Gwynn Oak and Bell. Mr. Davis is in the car with his wife, Mrs. Davis. He apparently had significant injuries. So what happened is Wayne Jenkins gets on the phone and he calls another sergeant by the name of Keith Gladstone. Keith Gladstone bought the drugs and planted the drugs in the car. Then they call Sean Suiter, who was working homicide. Suiter gets there and he, along with Gladstone, who now pretends like he just discovered the drugs. Even unbeknownst to Sean Suiter, Gladstone was the one who bought the drugs and planted them in the car. Gladstone just recently pleaded guilty of lying before a federal grand jury about planting guns at the scene of a crime. All this just came out. Now, if I know this, and I told this to Coach Butch McAdams and sent him the article. So he gets on air and pretend like I didn't tell him about Keith Gladstone. And Gladstone in the last 30 days just took the plea deal in which they said he told another officer to lie to say that they went to another officer's home to get another gun to come plant on somebody else. So how long these police officers have been carrying on this practice? See, this is where you got to stretch it out and ask questions, man. But if, again, Merlin Mosby didn't demand the phone records of David Bominka, because when Bominka went out with Suiter that day, he made sure not to take a department issue radio. Everybody got to go to roll call. You go to roll call, you got to have your body cam on. You got to go out with all necessary equipment when you go out in the field. So he went out without a radio on purpose, or he left his radio in the car. So therefore, Bominka's phone is evidence, right? The first 24, 48 hours are important. You don't let him go home with that phone. Not only that, when Sean Suiter was shot, first thing they tell you when somebody's shot, don't move him. So if Bominka and the other guy who was there, they said, I think his name was Gonzalez, if they pick Sean Suiter up, the clothes they got on is evidence, right? So you don't let him go home with that clothes on. You say, look, man, sorry. Unless they already had on some crime scene tape, white, them white scrubs, they got to leave them clothes, man. What they got on is DNA. It's evidence. So the police was covering this up from the get, man. And even the doctors that shock trauma, the one who's over his trauma, Scalia, helped to cover it up, man. You never heard a word from Scalia about what happened to Sean Suiter. They was in on the cover up down there, man. I tell people, keep your loved ones out of shock trauma. They will kill them and take them organs. Keep your loved ones out of the University of Maryland shock trauma, okay? But we, again, ask you, meditate, pray that the truth comes out regarding what happened to Sean Suiter. But we know what happened to him, and we know and got to ask, who is this white boy David Bominka? Because, again, he must have a Teflon Don, right, backing him that Davis didn't want to out him. T.J. Smith didn't want to out him. Clyde Boatwright don't want to out him. Lou Hobson don't want to out him. Dr. Tyrone Powers, the former FBI agent who wrote the book, Rise and Decline of FBI Agent, Eyes to My Soul. Guess he done lost his soul, right? She done went down there and joined the other side. They don't want to out David Bominka. Suiter's partner, who's supposed to be his Ace Boone Coon. Now we find out he got the coon part, right? Jonathan Jones, he don't want to out him. All them other members on the homicide unit don't want to out Bominka. And they got guns and badges, man. So you got to get it from a little bitty brother on black radio that's not afraid to tell you the truth. And if they're doing this in this city, what are they doing in other cities in terms of killing officers and covering it up, man? And this is with Elijah Cummings as the congressman. He never opened his mouth up about what happened to Sean Suiter. This is with that old gay Ben Cardin, right? That old, y'all know he broke bad. That's why Larry Young like him so damn much. You know what I mean? One day maybe he tell you them secrets about him and Ben Cardin, all right? Okay? When they was in the house, you know what I mean? But Ben Cardin passed Blue Lives Matter, introduced the Blue Lives Matters bill. So if Blue Lives Matter, how come they haven't said a word or done anything to help Sean Suiter's family? I guess blue lives only matter if you're taking a blue life of a white police officer or a Hispanic police officer. But if you're a black police officer, Blue lives don't matter to them. Be clear about that. Blue lives don't matter. Black lives don't matter. It's just another hashtag. That's about it. Okay? So, again, we'll find out. And you can call the attorney for the Suter family, Jeremy Eldridge Law Officers, 443-559-4384, man, to find out when the vigil is going to be taking place. With that, let me move on to my next topic real quick, man. We got that clip of Jack Young, man. They're talking about Baltimore homicides reaching 300. When has Baltimore homicides not been at 300, man? They were at 300 in the 70s, man. All this is population reduction and population control. Let's be clear about that. Now, I don't know who sits around and count homicide statistics, because they haven't told you how many people have overdosed in this city. More people OD in this city than been killed in this city. But they don't talk about that. I guess it's out of sight, out of mind. They don't tell you how many black babies are aborted every year in Baltimore City. You think that could be 300? The number one killer of black males in this city is the abortion clinics, Planned Parenthood. But nobody talks about that, right? They just talk about how many people have been killed or stabbed, etc. And most people get locked in that low vibratory frequency talking about that, right? But there was recently a killing of a, was he a coach at the YMCA? The white guy? Yeah. Now all these black people been killed, right? One white man get killed, and then all of a sudden people start writing op-eds and everything else, right? So please, man, you should just stop it instead of talking about an op-ed. But let me see if you got that clip. I think it's on my page, WMAR, in which they asked Jack Young, and he said, "I'm not committing no crimes." Now, I was saying, is it better to be thought of as a fool than to open your mouth and show the people that you really are a fool, man? You've been hurt. So we'll see if we got that clip, because I want you to hear this, and this is the reason why I keep saying you really need to put a microphone or put a keep out of reach of children sign on that microphone down there where your mayor is, or just have them wear those masks like they wearing in China, them black masks, man. Like you got a communicable disease or something, because you got like diarrhea of the mouth and just don't know what to say. You understand?
Bill says goodbye to a coach, a mentor, a son, and a husband.
Jordan Taylor, who was killed in a violent home invasion last week, will have a viewing tonight, followed by services tomorrow. His murder, though, is sparking passionate debate here in our city. WMAR 2 News' Brian Kubler is here to explain it to us right now.
Jamie, after Jordan's murder, the CEO of the YMCA penned a critical op-ed about the violent crime rate in Baltimore. Mayor Jack Young responded today saying it isn't a lack of his leadership. He isn't committing the murders. Jordan Taylor is the kind of soul that doesn't come around all that often. A fixture here at the Y in Catonsville, he coached and mentored kids for years. A kind and compassionate man whose murder set off the organization's CEO.
Juxtaposition of the violent act and such a gentle, he was really a gentle soul, is just, it just sets you back, and it's very hard to process.
John Hoy first worked his thoughts out on paper in an op-ed in the Baltimore Sun. He said to Baltimore and its leadership, "Our house is on fire. The violent crime epidemic needs urgency, something he and others are not seeing from City Hall."
Mine was not a political statement. Mine was a statement of a cry to be focused on one thing until we get it fixed.
I've been moving the city forward, and I don't know, he never called me.
Today, Mayor Jack Young responded to Hoy's op-ed. He said, don't blame him for the murder rate.
You know, because I'm not committing the murders, and that's what people need to understand. I'm not committing the murders. The police commissioner is not committed it. The council not committing it. So how can you fault leadership?
Young says he begs to differ with Hoy, although the mayor admitted he hasn't been updated on the Jordan Taylor case. He said it will be 5 years of 300-plus murders, and he doesn't see that as a lack of leadership. On that, Hoy begs to differ with Young.
In my organization, if we were that broken, it's my job to get it fixed, or somebody else should, have my job.
Meanwhile, the ATF is now offering a $5,000 reward for information on the 3 suspects who murdered Taylor during that brutal home invasion. Taylor's family is having a viewing tonight in Catonsville, with funeral services expected tomorrow.
Thank you. All right, that was courtesy of WMAR. Now, before I get to Jack Young, let me talk about. I sympathize with anyone who's lost a loved one to violence in the city of Baltimore. But don't, again, when it's a white life, right, then is exalted, right, above all these other young black men or black women, right, that's being killed and have been killed in the city of Baltimore. But the interesting thing is that they haven't really given us information about what happened to Jordan Taylor. Who was his wife? Who was the girlfriend, right? Were these suspects that they knew, right? Now now Clifton Avenue looks like that area is what used to be. Is that the Village Purnell right there? Is that what that is? They just changed the name, right? Which was always an area that always had violence in that area up there off of Forest Park, right? So what they haven't done is put some meat on the bones, right? And put some potatoes on the story here, right? Because that's still somebody got to come off the road to go to that particular house. You pass a whole bunch of houses. He lived like 4310. So they just on GP they passed 4300, 02, 04, 06. So why'd they come to that particular house? What was going on that they knew Jordan Taylor or knew the wife or the girlfriend of Jordan Taylor? That's what they're not telling, right? So we gotta ask some serious questions in terms of what was he into, because maybe sometimes all that glitters ain't gold. Maybe that lifestyle that they trying to say he was living, he really wasn't living. So there's a lot of more questions that's not being answered in terms of what really happened with Jordan Taylor or the people that he was around. That's what's not coming out. Now, the ATF put up 5,000. Now, if Jack Young really cared, here was his opportunity to make himself look good in terms of a public relations, right? He could have said, we're going to put up $5,000. And this is something that Brother Muhammad has talked about for years, so much so that others have picked up on it. When a person's killed in Baltimore City, you know what they offer up? Standard Metro Crime Stop for $2,000. Who the hell going to tell what somebody did for $2,000 and put their life on the line, man? You understand? The state's attorney's office got money that they sit on, that if you're a victim of crime, that they can pay out to you. But they don't spend that time educating the public about that. So now there's more questions regarding what happened. But for Jack Young, when given an opportunity, and then that's the other part, that this is the YMCA. And it's the same YMCA. You know who owns the YMCA, right? The Archdiocese of Baltimore, the Archdiocese of Maryland. It was called the Young Men's Christian Association, man. So the Catholic Church owns the YMCA. Right. So this means this is Bishop Lurie. Bishop Lurie is one of Jack Young's go-to boys, man. Right? Or men, his masters, right? His white papal master. Now, Jack Young, city council president, they had a daycare center down East Baltimore, right there on Asquith Street and Fayette Street, right? They told the owners of that daycare center they gave them orders to vacate, and Jack Young never stepped in to help him. I talked to a couple of people who called my radio show, told me about it. I talked to the councilman because they put him on the spot. The councilman, what's my man's? Robert Stokes, right? Not Carl Stokes, right? So after they moved that daycare center out, guess who they put in there? The YMCA daycare center, right? So they uprooted black children up out of that daycare center to bring in Hispanic children. Now, if you go to that building across the street, the University of Maryland used to own right there on Fayette Street, now they got like a Hispanic social service center right there. You know what I'm talking about? It's a fence around it. It was owned by like Campbell Brothers or somebody, right? It's ain't nothing but a Hispanic social service building right there. Then you come across the street, what used to be the Boys and Girls Club. It's still the Boys and Girls Club. Remember, it was the Carmelo Anthony Boys and Girls Club, right? Jack Young, Sheila Dixon, Stephanie Rawlins Blake, Kathy Pugh. Now, they never gave Carmelo no love. They never gave no ticket tape parade to Carmelo, right? But they gave a ticket tape parade, which they paid for Michael Phelps, right? You understand what I'm saying? So they took the building away from Carmelo and gave it to the Living Classroom Foundation, man. You understand? I mean, how cold could you be? And then gave it to, and then Living Classroom hired, what's the brother, used to be about, not Keith Booth. It was the other one he went to Dunbar also. Kirk Lee runs that, man. But it's shameful to see what they do to black folk. So as I always say, once they co-op you, then they co-drop you. So now, Jack Young is being positioned as the idiot he really is right now. People are seeing him for what he is. And he's doing it to himself. That's why I said he need a mask, or he just need to have a spokesperson, let the spokesperson do all the speaking, which is Cheryl Goldstein, which really is the mayor in absentia, right? Cheryl Goldstein, the Jewish girl, that's the daughter of the late, great, well, I don't know how great he is, but the Jewish gangster, Louis Goldstein, right? Who was the control over the state of Maryland for years, thanks to the likes of, what's his name? Irv Colvin and Jack Polikoff. So they punking Jack. And of course, we saw that when they had a town hall meeting, and he didn't show up at the town hall meeting, him and Brandon Scott, right? Town hall meeting at Coppin, they didn't want to show up because they know that Fox was going to have, what's his name? Tharu Nignaraja, the black guy, right? The black Indian, supposedly, right? And I got some people like my man, Brother D. Walker out there, the brother who I've had on the show, Brother Damon. Damon thinks he's a good person, right? And no doubt, maybe one day I might interview him. I know I went, now I'm going to show you where I was insulted, though. Here we was fighting to keep Councilman for Life Carl Stokes school open, Banneker Blake Academy, all boys school. And I again, tongue in cheek said to Carl Stokes, if you was there teaching all these black boys how to be gender benders and diaper swipers and be little girls, oh, they keep your school open, man. It'd be a model for the rest of the state, right? If not the rest of the country. But you raising these black boys in the spirit of men like Malcolm X and others, they can't have that. So they want to close your school. So they said they were having a town hall meeting. We went to the forum that they had. Then they was having a town hall meeting. Then I get to the town hall meeting after we brought about 50 to 60 brothers out to the school board where they was getting ready to vote to close it, right? And I'm the kind of person, I don't go to the school board meetings because it's cold and it's callous. And I've been through numerous school board meetings with Brother David Johnson, Brother Donald Smith, Brother Lyle, and so many other brothers, right? I don't go for these dog and pony shows where they really have contempt for you. I'm talking about black elitism that you see down there, right? And that's because they controlled by their Jewish masters. The Jews control public education in Baltimore City. That's why it's always the hidden hand of the Abel Foundation, the hidden hand of the Baltimore, what's it called? Fund for Educational Excellence, right? Started by this Jewish guy, Jerry Baum, right? They control them. And I remember when they was getting rid of Bunley, and Bunley told me, which I already knew, the fund control everything, man. They control the school board. Bonnie Copeland, after we got rid of Bonnie Copeland, she left the school superintendent position and went back to the Fund for Educational Excellence. And we got rid of him when I had a brother, let me digress for a minute, brother named Bodio Scipio, who was a Liberian brother. His name was Richard Donald. He worked over there as an analyst, and he was on my show, and we were talking about how Brian Marsh, at that time, he was head of school board. Bonnie Copeland was the superintendent. And Eric Letzinger was there. And they had 10 people who were supposed to be at work down at the administrative building, but they all was out on a boat, right? And tapped into the Children Transportation Fund. This was in 2005. Go check the record. We was on the air on a Friday, and we called down there, and they said none of them was at work. Now, what happened, they all got popped, and the girl, Alexis Hughes, who they tell me her real name was Alexis, we riding her like we riding that Hughes for the most part, right? Now, I'm going to tell you what happened to her. Then she said they was going to pay the money back. Eric Letzinger got fired. But what happened was, it was alleged that the boy Thomas Alston, Chris Tom Calcuddy, who they eventually sent over to City Hall. See, the Indians was running the IT department at that time, right? And so they told Copeland if she got rid of Eric Letzinger, that it was something that they was gonna snitch on her about. So Copeland resigned, right? O'Malley got rid of Copeland and she had to resign. So, but we was the ones that forced all that into action. So much so, the white girl Laura Vazella at the Sun paper, she called me on the phone. Then the Sun paper sent Gregory Kane to come and see me at the radio station. Larry Young, I mean, he hit the ceiling. Here's a little brother that got a customized show. The Sun paper sending Gregory Kane out to do an interview with me, not with him, not with the people who work for Radio 1, but for somebody who had a radio station, a radio program on the airways of Radio 1, right? And Greg Kane did the story on me. They sent the white girl Laura Vazella to try to do they want to do a psyops on you, see who you are, to see what you know, see what your stability threshold is, how much of a threat you are to the establishment. So I knew that's what she was calling me about. So she wanted me to come down and have lunch with her, and I told her I don't do Italian, you know what I mean, right? But she wrote the article about me, and she entitled it "The Man That Knew Too Much." You know what I mean? You can go back and pull the article up. She said, Darren Muhammad, the man that knew too much. And at that time, I talked about the corruption in the city school board. Brother Bodio got forced out of there, and he eventually moved to Denver, and he died. But I will always remember that brother because he spilled the beans on a lot of corruption that was going on and was a whistleblower, right? In terms of what was going on. So I just say all that to say that all of this, when we went to that town hall meeting at Carl Stokes School, who did Carl Stokes have on the stage, man? But Mark Steiner, right? And what's his name? Tharu Nignaraja. You know what I mean? I was insulted, man. Here we had 50 to 60 brothers. Nignaraja didn't bring no 50 Indians to speak up to save that black school. Mark Steiner didn't bring 50 Jews down there to save that all black boys school. So I get in there with my good brother who I love and respect, Edwin Johnson there, Carl Stokes there. They got Nignaraja up on the stage and Mark Steiner up on the stage, man. And I maintain my cool and ain't say nothing, bro. You understand? But I'm like, that's the thanks we get, man. That y'all gonna have Nignaraja up on stage, right? And as I said a couple of years ago, you can pull the article up. When that Indian guy Patel, you know, most Indians got the name Patel, Moody, Singh. When he killed his wife at that Dunkin' Donuts out there on Dundalk Avenue, you ain't hear Nignaraja say nothing about that's Indian on Indian violence, man. And that Indian, he's still on FBI most wanted list. You know what I mean? They have not found him to this day, right? So, you know, maybe one day we might have a debate, but they're not going to use black people tragedy to try to propel Nignaraja. That's the same one who ran for state's attorney, right? And the people didn't want him for state's attorney, right? Isn't that him?
Correct.
Right. So now he gonna run for mayor. What's next? The comptroller? I'm just asking, what's next, man? In terms of that, we can do better. That's all I'm saying. That we gotta stop. We gotta stop lowering the bar or lowering it down to the shoestring level. You know what I mean? Yeah. That he clearly has to prove to the white elites, so-called white elites, that he can go out here and beat up on some black politicians like Jack Young. You know what I mean? Yeah. Right? But as the state's attorney, he know what happened to Sean Suiter. You see him open his mouth up about it? You see him coming behind the support of Sean Suiter family? See, that's what I look at, man. These are opportunistic people trying to use black pain for their white gain or their technicolor white gain. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying, man. I see right through them. And anybody else. I don't want to know what you're doing now. What were you doing before that, man? And if you really want to help black people in this city, show me your track record of doing some pro bono cases to get black men out of prison, man. Show me that, or get black women out of prison. If you haven't done that, then you need to sit down and shut up. That's all. But he got to try to prove himself to them white folk that's saying that this is, we need something new in Baltimore City. Well, ain't nothing new about him, man. We've seen that before. We've seen that script before with Martin O'Malley. He just technicolor Martin O'Malley. That's all. He just macadamian color Martin O'Malley. We've seen that before, man. That's all. So I wanted to make sure I mention that before I go national. Oh, and of course, the city to halt public housing applications. Again, as I keep saying, all of this is tied into the opportunity zones, man. We told you years ago. Jack Young was there when what's the guy Under Armour CEO? Kevin Plank, when they was coming for what's that area over there, Port Covington? He knew Michael Beatty and John Patarakis, who were his sugar daddies. He know they was coming for Perkins Homes, man. Yeah, John Patarakis, the Greek mogul, H&S Bakery. That's his sugar. That's one of his sugar daddies, man. That's why he see Jack put his hand on his head and all that kind of stuff. So when man can do to you like that, that ain't no different than Adam Vinette grabbing Terry Crews by his balls, man. If man grab you and put his hand on your head, he grabbing more than your head, and when you ain't in the public, man. Okay. So that's your cosmos. You don't let somebody walk up and grab your head, but that's how Patarakis would treat them, man. But nevertheless, they know they was coming for McCullough Homes, Perkins Homes, Gilmore Homes, Cherry Hill Homes, Westport Homes, O'Donnell Heights, any area that's around water they've been coming for, man. And this is what Jack Young has been complicit with. This is what Elijah Cummings have been complicit with, man. Perry Mitchell would never allow this to take place, man. He would say, our people going to stay in the city. We endured all of the negatives, so now we have an opportunity to turn these negatives into a positive. We took lemon and made lemonade. We took onions and made onion pickles. Now all of a sudden, right, they coming in saying, no, we moving these niggas out, man. We move these black folk out of here. So you can't get a housing voucher. There was a housing report that the Abel Foundation sat on. I remember that came out back in 2007. The Abel Foundation, under another Zionist Jew that used to head up the housing authority, Bob Embry, right? That they suppressed these reports from coming out, man, because they know that was the plan as far as housing. Of course, Brother David Johnson, Brother Donald Smith have always talked about Dean Russ, David Russ, the book, Baltimore Unbound, talking about how moving to regional government So the plan now is to move black people out of the cities into the counties, in the Harford County, in the Howard County, in the Anne Arundel County, anywhere but Baltimore City. So this couldn't happen without weak black political power, man. That they're complicit in going along with it. So who needs a man like Jack Young that's allowing this to take place? Perry Mitchell would say, no, y'all can get what y'all want to get for your people, but my people going to have their fair share in the city, man. If you 65% of the population, 65% of this contract should be coming to black folk. You 65% of the population, you're going to have some affordable housing, you're going to have some co-ops in the city where black people can live, man. So basically what they saying is the only thing they want in this city is senior citizen buildings, and most of the senior citizen buildings, they turning over to the 504 programs, which is most of the substance abuses, right? That's in the same building with your grandmother. Then you want to, sister send me a text while I was on the air. So they had a 70-year-old OD'd in their building today, man, right? Now, that's taking place in all of these senior citizen buildings. Now, you go down to the doggy park, you know, they got a sign say one side for little dogs only and the other side for big dogs only, right? You better not have your big dog in there where the little dog's supposed to be, right? Now, you can go to senior citizen building, they got substance abuse men and women living in the same building with your grandmother. How your grandmother and grandfather gonna have a peace of mind, man? They praying on your grandmother and your grandma. They, you know what I mean? They putting 20 locks on the doors, 6 chairs in front of the door, behind the door at night, man. And yet, you got mayors that know this is going on, black elected officials know this is going on, and they don't stop it. You know what they say? Well, they got a right to live there. No, they ain't got a right to live in the same building with my grandmother. It's a senior building. Put the seniors with the seniors. If they got a substance abuse issue, then what you do, they got all these damn hotels. Take one of them hotels and make that the hotel just for substance abuse victims. That's where they gonna live. If they don't want to live on their house, if they don't want to live in a hotel, what's them ships come in? The U.S. Comfort? I remember C4. No, this year. I remember Clarence Mitchell IV was talking about how he had a drug habit, right? And his family, because they was the Mitchells, they didn't want to send him to a local drug facility, right? They sent them to Cincinnati. He talked about how he lived on a boat in Cincinnati for 6 months to get cleaned up, man. So all I'm saying is get a boat. Dock these boats, man. Put them on the boat. That's all. I ain't saying sail them out to sea, though. You understand? But put them on the boat. Then the city owns a lot of property in Baltimore County, man. Build a facility like they have for seniors at what's called Charlestown, which is owned by, what's that group called? Erickson. They own Charlestown, where Donald Schaefer lived before he died, right there off of Maiden Choice. You know how big that senior city is? Why don't they build something like that? And then you got something like that for substance abuse victims, right? It don't make sense to put them in buildings with your grandmother and grandfather, man, right? But it takes somebody that can think outside the box. That's what a real politician would say. Y'all, you can't have this in your city, man, right? People not going to invest. People still come and invest in your city. That's why they oversaturating this area up here with nothing but substance abuse, right? Methadone clinics and everything else, because Wall Street has invested heavily in the methadone clinics, man. So it's big money to be made. But we say y'all ain't putting them in certain areas. You see, so that's where you need real leadership in the city. Now, before I go national, I got to talk about the politics in Baltimore City, as we saw with Congressman Elijah Cummings, right? The late Congressman Elijah Cummings' wife, or his girl 6, says she now is registered, right? Now, she didn't make the announcement. She made an announcement the other day, but she was on Rachel Maddow's show last week when she really made the announcement, right?
She was on her show Monday.
Right, Rachel Maddow, right. Okay. Let's be clear. As I've said in our off-the-air conversations, pardon me, that Elijah Cummings was a Benedict Arnold from my perspective to the black community. Traitorous to the black community because he spent more time in the Jewish community. And when he became congressman, same way the Jews did with Congressman Elijah Cummings, they took their staff from Ben Cardin's office and put him in Perry Mitchell's office. You know why they do that? So they can keep an eye on him. You understand? So they did the same thing with Cummings. This is why the Jews don't want anybody that they don't control, like in the spirit of a Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney or Adam Clayton Powell, to become elected over the 7th Congressional District. Because then that person can do an audit of Elijah Cummings, right, funds, and look at where the money was going that was coming into Baltimore City. They don't want that because the crooks never want you to see the books. Then they be on a straight trail of jail with no bail. They can't even chance that right now. So they gotta put Kwesi Mfume in there because Kwesi know how the game is played, right? That's gonna be their plan. Now, this girl don't understand that if they could take Cummings up out of here, they ain't got no problem taking her up out of here. Now she dumb enough to get on TV to say she getting ready to go have a double mastectomy for preventive measures. Now clearly she's trying to use this to get leverage, man. That she gonna offer up the breasts, right? She gonna offer up the breasts, supposedly, right? This is what she's saying. Now I'll be like Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan in Rush Hour when the lady said she was working for the U.S. Treasury Department. She had the bra on. Chris Tucker, Rush Hour 2, they say, let me see. Now if she gonna go get a double mastectomy, I'll be saying, let me see. Because I don't believe it. I think she's just using this as leverage and also using it to stay out of the public because she got to get some talking points because she knows she come to a debate, they going to ask her about that LLC, the Center for Global Solution LLC, which was not registered in the state of Maryland, that she was collecting money for, which is already a violation. Then they're going to ask her about the nonprofit part of it, then the for-profit part of it. So she knows once that pressure comes, she can't take that kind of pressure. And pressure breaks pipes, and she will break. So clearly, she thinks that her husband's inauguration was a coronation. And let's be clear, if her husband wanted her to have the seat, now we remember the late, what's his name? He died in a plane accident, McCaskill, and he wanted his wife to have the seat, Clara McCaskill. And I think she ran for the seat, or he gave up the seat on his deathbed. If Elijah Cummings wanted to give her the seat, here he's dying. He's in the hospital. He know he ain't going to make it back to Washington, D.C. Now, don't you think he would have called Belinda Conaway, who's the register of wills, and she's running commercials right now saying where there's a will, there's a way. And he said, Belinda, you know what I mean? I want my wife to have the seat. I'm going to notarize this letter, right? Now, he could have did that with Belinda Conaway, right? Register of wills. I'm notarizing the letter.
Is that your Elijah Cummings voice?
Yeah. Well, you know how he do. It's a damn, he'll shake his head. I'm notarizing, like he got Parkinson or something, right? Like a pit bull, right? I'm notarizing the letter, Belinda. So I want my wife to take my place. But there's no recording of such thing. If he was on his deathbed, as I said, Negroes, they'll be going to church on Easter, Christmas, New Year's, talking about the last 7 words of Jesus, right? But they don't say what was the last 7 words of Elijah. I want Maya Rock'em Cummings to have my seat. There's no recording of such thing. You understand? So you going to tell me that he loved her so much. What's that song Beyonce say? If you like it, then you should put a ring on it, right? He didn't put no ring on it. That's all I'm saying. No, I'm not. I'm saying put a ring on it as far as pick up the phone, put it on paper, right? Put it on paper, right? To say, I want her to serve in my seat when I'm gone. There's nothing on paper, right? I think that was Ann Nesby, put it on paper, right? Put it on paper. There's nothing there, man.
She told Rachel Maddow that they had conversations.
Yeah, but she should have had more than one person there, right? That's all I'm saying. So now what we see in Baltimore City, as I've always said, there's just no honor among thieves, right? Especially thieves with weaves, you know what I mean? There's no honor among thieves, man. So Kwesi Mfume say he running. Somebody named Spike said he running, who was a staff person, right? And now Maya Rock'em Cummings says she's running. State Senator Jill Carter says she's going to have a press conference on the 20th, right? Probably to announce she's running. So this is, see, when Mr. Willie Adams was living, and he was a political guru and political mob boss, the way they looked at him, right? Mr. Willie Adams, right, and the elders, they were the king makers. They weren't trying to be the king. Or the queen makers, because Mr. Willie Adams got his wife elected. She was the first woman to be elected in the state of Maryland. If you don't believe me, Google Victorine Adams. The first woman, I didn't say the first black woman, the first woman was Victorine Adams, right? Then they set up the Victorine Adams and Willie Adams Fuel Fund, but it's really the Victorine Adams to help black people with their BG&E bill. I don't know what happened to that, but I used to talk to a doctor, I think his name was Griffin, who was on that fuel fund. But I think the Maryland Fuel Fund wanted all and total control over that, right? So I think they was really pressing them to do away with the Victorine Adams Fuel Fund. But nevertheless, they used it to help blacks. But again, if Cummings wanted his wife to have the seat, he would have given her the seat. That's the bottom line, right? It reminds me of Pete Rawlins. When Pete Rawlins was living, he had cancer. He was on his deathbed, right? a sister I know that was a nurse down there, she was his nurse, and she told me he had set up his hospital room as a campaign office for Martin O'Malley. Martin O'Malley, who was running for governor, right? So here's Pete Rollins, a delegate. He's dying. He had an opportunity to give the seat to his son, Wendell, but he didn't give the seat to his son, Wendell. But he campaigned for Martin O'Malley. And it might have been because Martin O'Malley was boning his daughter at that time, Stephanie Rollins. Everybody knew he was boning her, right? The women in City Hall knew. It was so bad that when Martin O'Malley married that old drunk Katie Karen, right? Who's Judge Karen, right? Because Martin O'Malley wanted political power. So he had what they call an ultimate, what Trump show called Ultimate Merger, or the Ultimate Hookup. Is that what it was called, the Ultimate Merger? So he merged into the Karen family. That's what Myra Rock'n'More Cummings was trying to do, merge into Elijah Cummings' family for the most part. So, but anyway, when Martin O'Malley married Katie Karen, Stephanie Rollins was talking about committing suicide, man. She really needed a checkup from the neck up, you understand? And Pete told her to go get married, and she married Ken Blake. Now, you know, since then, they done got divorced, right? And she done came all the way out the closet. She got her a white girlfriend. You know what I mean? She Muffy the Vampire Slayer right now, all right? She got her a white girlfriend. These hoes ain't loyal. But let me keep going. So now, Elijah Cummings' wife, who clearly, again, I don't know if she'll make it out of 2019. I'm talking about alive, man. 2019. If he didn't make it out of 2019, she may not make. Them boys that's running that thing will kill her, man. When the feds come with that pressure on her about that them funds that they was using as no more than a slush fund, the boys don't want that information to get out, man. So they will take her off the planet. She'll go to the worst thing she can do is tell somebody she going in the hospital to have a double mastectomy. She can go in, but her ass won't come out. Just ask Elijah. All right? She can go in, but she may not come out. Okay? That was the worst thing she could say. Even if she going in there to pretend like she having a mastectomy, man. This is not the time to go in the hospital this time of year. With pneumonia, pneumonia, pewmonia, with everybody tied to Kathy Pew. I wouldn't go in there if I was you. All right? Be clear about that. Crystal clear. You be like Roach Motel. You check in, but your ass will check out, but you won't check out of that hospital. So that's the worst thing she could do, man. But again, we got to stop lowering the bar, and we need to have king makers. Because right now, this thing looking like, what's that big horse, that horse swim, Assateague, where all the ponies be swimming at Assateague Island? It's looking like an Assateague pony swim for the most part. Everybody jumping in the damn water. You know what I mean? And we need to have an agenda. That's the first thing. Because none of them are talking about the blacks who have endured in the historic 7th Congressional District. Nobody's saying what the people have suffered, man. She running right here talking about revolution inclusion. What the hell is that, man? See, when you hear them start talking about diversity, they tell me they're going to look out for the undocumented immigrants and they're going to look out for the gays. So when you hear them, I don't care who it is, male or female, you hear them start talking about some diversity, say, no. How about all the people who endured adversity? Damn the diversity. Before we can get to some diversity, let's deal with the people who've been dealing with all the adversity. The bad schools, the lead in the water, the lead in your homes, right? The mass incarceration, right? The high property taxes. Can we help the crime, right? In fact, you got 50% black male unemployment as a crime. Nobody talking about the opportunity zones, man. While everybody coming in to benefit from the opportunity zones, except the people who the opportunity zones was set up and established to really help black folk. That Trump was telling you what you got to lose. Now, all them sucker perpetrators saying, well, we don't care what he's saying, but they damn sure jumping in to take advantage of that opportunity zone money and resources and services that's coming in. And I'm talking about the black bourgeoisies. I know that all the other groups doing it, the whites, the Jews, the Italians, the Greeks, the Hispanics, the Arabs, the Indians, all them getting in on it, man. You didn't see them Indians when Trump was down there, what was that, in Houston? At that, what's that stadium with we was down at the Reliant Arena? You ain't see them Indians talking about booing Trump or nothing, was it? When they was down there with Trump and Modi, the Prime Minister Indian? Oh, hell no, man. You ain't, only one suck enough to fall for that is our people, man. We the only ones suck enough to fall for something like that, man. So, keep your eye on Myra Rock'n'More Cummings, because she going to be stuck between a rock and a hard. She is stuck between a rock and a hard place. And I ain't talking about Bud Rock. And you see Bud Rock ain't come out and endorse her, did he? Hell no. You ain't see Michelle come out for that wench, have you? You ain't seen none of them women organizations come out for that wench, man. So they must, you ain't seen white women in the Democratic Party like the former one, Susan Turnbull, come out and, you ain't seen Jewish women come out and endorse that wench. So they must know that she about to go down, man. You ain't seen the National Council of Jewish Women, the ones that was running around here funding the Me Too movement, the Time's Up movement, and the Women's March. You know them pink pussycat hats they was wearing. You ain't seen them come out and endorse her. So what do they know that they ain't telling you, man? And y'all the only ones sucking up talking about, because that was his wife, she need to have a seat. Hey, man, look. That nigga ain't think enough about it to get a seat to her while he was living, and he knew he was sick. Y'all knew he was looking bad for the last, 3-4 years? Huh? He was looking bad when he got that gastric bypass surgery done. He went from weighing about 350, right, down to about 150, and if he turned sideways, you file a missing person report for his ass, right? So y'all know he was doing dirt bad, and she even talk about saying he was sick. Well, that might be, again, part of what my man wrote in that conservative treehouse article, talking about the fact he had a form of syphilis. Now, if he didn't, clearly she could be getting her lawyer and be singing suit, suitio, but that's what the guy said, that he had treponinium palladium, which is a form of syphilis, right, that he had, all right? So you tune to the State of the City. Well, let me get into, man, because I want time per minute, I'm going to come back to that Harriet Tubman. But let me get into, man, as I mentioned, Trump was down in Atlanta. Blacks for Trump, man. And he said some very profound things. Now, I'm not, for some of you say, Brother Muhammad, you a Trump supporter? Look, man, as I keep saying to you, as the syndicates, Trump represents the Knights of Malta. There's an infight that's going on between the deep state, Knights of Malta, and the other groups, man. That's what this whole so-called impeachment inquiry is about, right? Which it ain't going to happen, but that's the fight. And then after they reveal who they really are, when they reveal, everybody got a right to face their accuser. They're not even bringing Eric Schmelly, I think his name is, who worked for National Security Agency, right? Or NSC, right? So they're not even bringing these people to face, right, what they claim that Trump was doing. So what ends up happening with this whole thing, man, is it's going to be all the ones that's participating going to be brought up on for treason. They will have their tribunals, though. They will face them. They will have them down in Guantanamo Bay. But most of y'all don't even see the fight going on. So I don't spend a lot of time talking about it. I hit it and then get up off of it. Because as Baba Dick always said to me, your truth do not have to be validated by their ignorance, man. And most don't want to see it. Because they have made you, through social engineering, want to hate Trump. But I say name one thing to Trump, to me, that Trump done to you personally. You can't even name it. One policy that he's done that's affected you and black folk. You can't name it. You say, just because he's a Republican. He's not a Republican. He's a populist, and he told you that. You liked him when you was watching Apprentice. You liked him when you was watching Miss America. Was that Miss Universe? And y'all saw where they say Tyler Perry going to be hosting Miss Universe down at his academy? That new studio down there? Yep. Now, I'm going to tell you again, as I keep telling you, follow the wizards. Connect the dots. Tyler Perry agent, WMEIMG, is Ari Emanuel, the brother of Rahm Emanuel. Again, Ari Emanuel is one of the best friends of President Donald Trump. He's Donald Trump agent. He's Steve Harvey agent. He's Oprah Winfrey agent. He's Colin Kaepernick agent. He's LeBron James agent. Why do you think they moved LeBron to Los Angeles, man? He's going to do more movies. Space Jam 2. Although I don't know, they keep talking about the Chinese. Chinese say ain't nothing happening here, baby. But that's the game that they plan on the people. And Tyler Perry's new studio is in the opportunity zone, man. So why y'all think Trump was down in Atlanta talking about the opportunity zone? Tyler Perry's new studio is built in the opportunity zone. It's built on an old Confederate military base, McPherson. But when you pull up the McPherson Development Authority, goes back again, Development Authority, man. That's not Tyler Perry's authority. He has to listen to what others are telling him that he must do. So these sometimes are fake fights, man, where they telling you Tyler Perry ain't done. Yeah, okay, if Ari Emanuel is Tyler Perry's agent, and Tyler Perry said something about Trump, you think Trump pick up the phone since y'all claim he talked to people in Ukraine, told him to do something to Joe Biden or somebody? I think Trump called Ari Emanuel, say drop Tyler Perry. They just some bad publicity like they did with Bill Cosby. Or get them pictures out y'all got with Tyler Perry and and Tom Joyner. Get them pictures out, man. With Tyler Perry, Tom Joyner, right? Get them pictures out, man. You understand? Yeah, come on, it's the game that they play on the masses of the people. So Trump's down in Atlanta. I ain't gonna play the clip, but he telling you that Atlanta, again, is one of the biggest areas, is of course the home of the civil rights movement in the South, right? So Trump down there touting the opportunity zones, man. Yet most of our people don't know about the opportunity zones, right? And you got progressive blacks down there, man, in Atlanta, and they saying the opportunity zone is the next best thing to come along, man. That is going to help a lot of our people, but they got to be at the table. And as I keep saying, as the syndicates say, as I keep talking about, there's syndicates in every city, every state. So you see that fight down there in Mexico? There was a Mexican syndicate fighting a Mormon syndicate that was tied to the Romney family down there. Did y'all know that? That was the Mormon syndicate down there in Mexico. They had to get out of America because of that polygamy down there, right? So, but all I keep telling you is the syndicates say, when the deals are cut, if you got a pie, if you don't believe me, go watch the movie. What's black folk like to watch movies. What's the movie that I like the most? They say they can come out with a remake. Scarface. You know, young folk, they love to watch Scarface, right? Every brother gotta have Scarface in their house, man. It gotta be in their library, right? The Godfather, right? Hoodlum with Bumpy Johnson, right? If you don't want to watch something funny. What's the one with Richard Pryor, one of his last movies, Harlem Nights, right? All I was saying, when the deals are cut, you must be at the table, man, right? If you're not at the table, your ass is on the menu. That's the bottom line. So you better be at the table. I don't give a damn because they say they're a Republican. I don't give a damn because they say they're a Democrat. I don't give a damn they say they this, they that. You must be at the table and have somebody at the table, man. You better have an army to protect what you got. That's the bottom line. America's run by syndicates, man. It's gangster. That's all. What do you think the Catholic Church is? A syndicate. What do you think the Pope is the head of? The syndicate. What do you think Bishop Lurie in Maryland, that's a syndicate, man. Syndicate. So if you're not at the table when the deals are cut, your ass is on the menu. That's the bottom line. You got to stop acting like this is something childish for the most part. You got to grow up and mature and see it for what it is, man. Okay? That's the problem in Baltimore City. You don't have those that's willing to be at the table or have honest brokers at the table that's going to look out for the masses of our people. Most of them just looking out for themselves, those in their immediate circle, their family, and a few friends. Some might be in their fraternity or their sorority or their Masonic lodge. Oh, speaking of Masonic, let me just drop this one piece on you talking about Baltimore. Y'all see that game the other night with the Bengals and was that the Ravens? Yep. Man, what's my man now? He's smooth now. He's like the Black Swan out there, right? What's that movie called? The Black Swan? Black Swan? Yeah, you know the movie's called The Black Swan, right? Yeah, about the dance, Black Swan. But what's my man, Lamar Jackson? Yep. 47 yards. Is that what they kept saying? Yep. 47 yards. Now, 47 is, of course, the 47th Euclid or the 47th problem of Freemasonry. The whole foundation of Freemasonry is based on the number 47. So they're telling you that Lamar is now in the order, man. He's 22. If you understand, 2-2, that portal, right? And the last Super Bowl the Ravens went to was Super Bowl what? What Super Bowl was it? Come on, bro. Come on. 2012. What Super Bowl was it? 47. Come on, man. And the two brothers played each other, right? Yes. Right, that number 2. So they laying out they could be going back to the Super Bowl. Yeah, now you see they brought up Colin Kaepernick, right? Now here come Colin Kaepernick the next day, right? 49ers just happened to play on Monday Night Football that night, right? On 11/11, right? What's the 11/11 is what? 22, right? Right. So they bring back Colin Kaepernick, who they always bring out of hibernation during this time of year. And as we get close to the anniversary of the assassination of, again, 2 members of the original Black Panther Party for self-defense in Chicago. I-2 Twin Towers, Chairman Fred Hampton Sr. and Minister of Defense Mark Clark, right? One was 21, one was 22. So it ain't no coincidence, man. And Colin Kaepernick comes out, they say he just turned 32. Now, you know 32, of course, is a Freemasonic, right? Right? You know that, right? Yes. Right, 32 degrees of Freemasonry. All this ain't nothing but predictive programming and running the psyops on our people, man. Nobody trying out a quarterback in the 11th week of the NFL. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody trying, unless you got some serious injuries to your quarterback. Ain't Ain't no teams trying out a quarterback in the 11th week of the NFL, right? So this predictive program. Now, I did tell you they're coming out with a movie, Queen and Slim, which really is about Fred Hampton again, predictive programming, and Colin Kaepernick. He might have a cameo role in that. He might have a cameo role in the new Fred Hampton movie they shooting. It's supposed to be called Jesus Was My Homeboy, or it's called Judas and the Black Messiah. I think that's what it's going to be called, Judas and the Black Messiah. They might give him a cameo appearance in that, since Ryan Coogler is shooting that. Keep your eye. But he was the same one that put a patent on the afro, and I think he put a patent on the black leather jacket. You know that, right? Colin Kaepernick. So you say, wait a minute. You say, man, Huey Newton, they never did nothing like that. You know what I mean? Real Panther members. So if he does come back and they decide to bring him back, right? Because Ari Emanuel and the boys have given the green light to him, he may come back and play for the only team that got Panthers in the NFL is Carolina, right? And you know the Carolina Panthers said they're going to probably trade Cam Newton, right? So what's the chance they'll probably send Newton to where? Chicago, where Fred Hampton was from, right? Right? Or send him to the West Coast where Huey Newton was before he was killed, right? Might send him to Oakland. So all that is just, it's like one big psyops that keep playing on the people, man. And the Negroes, or black folk get all excited. Colin Kaepernick, right? He about to get paid. Well, he never lost anything, right? When you check the record, he never lost no corporate contracts, man. He still was with Nike, right? Now, never mind, Nike don't make no Nikes in the United States of America, right? He won't open out his mouth and say nothing about that, right? Using sweatshops, using children in Haiti, Bangladesh, Vietnam, China, right? You see what happened to the NBA when they said something about China, right? They got bitch slapped, right? So Colin Kaepernick, see, if he was a Muhammad Ali, he'd be talking about those kind of things, man. So yeah, people say he was the Muhammad Ali of this generation. Nothing could be further from the truth. He wasn't even like Shahrazad Ali. Let's be clear about that. All right? But Colin Kaepernick was still signed to Beats, right? Still signed to Nike, still signed to Jaguar, still signed to McDonald's. He didn't lose anything, man. And still got his money from the 49ers. So I know I'm stepping on some toes, but all I'm saying is stop trying to make heroes out of these zeros that all they trying to do, count them the Neros, man. All right? Okay? That's all they trying to do. Okay? So, again, you tuned to the State of the City. Now, let me get into this Byron Allen story, man, because so many people talking about him saying, wait a minute, how does that affect you, man? That the time that Comcast, which if I ask most people tell me what stations Byron Allen owns, they don't even know, man. Name me the name of the entertainment studio that Byron Allen owns. They don't know. They heard recently that he was buying the Weather Channel. They will say that. Oh, the Weather Channel, Brother Muhammad. How many are really... See, this was going... I listened to Byron Allen interviews when I used to listen to Carl Nelson show. And Byron Allen would come on with Carl Nelson a lot. Now, the sisters don't like him because they say he's married to a white woman. I ain't getting into, right? But now that is interesting, though. Because if he dies and get divorced, right? There is this thing called half, right? Right? So that money don't go to Byron. That money is going to, his ex. So all this was going down under Obama. And Byron said some things about Obama. And of course, you start talking about Obama. Black women will cut you in two like you got, like you know what I mean? They like you a Vitamix, you know what I mean? You start talking about Obama, what? So Byron Allen was talking about that. Didn't get a lot of leeway, but he was taking it to court. And it came out that Al Sharpton was taking money. I mean, we talked about this like at least 5-6 years ago, right? Sharpton was taking money from Comcast. Comcast was some of the biggest sponsors of Al Sharpton's National Action Network convention. In fact, Al Sharpton wasn't just satisfied with having a convention every April. Al Sharpton started having birthday parties in October, another fundraiser, and it was paid for by all these corporations, man. And so Al Sharpton, who again used to wear them Fab Five Freddy sweatsuits, right, with the big medallions on it, weighed about 350. Y'all remember the famous scene when he was on the what's my man, Morton Downey Jr. and what's his name, Roy Ennis Sr. knocked him out that chair, man, knocked him on his fat ass. Y'all do remember that, right? Al Sharpton, the FBI informant, that it came out that he was working for the FBI, and of course the Rockefeller Foundation. And if you listen to Brother Muhammad's show and Carl Nelson, now that's when Carl used to bring on attorney Alton Maddox I've been reaching out to Attorney Alton Maddox Jr. We've been missing each other. I've reached out to him, and some people called me, said they was concerned about his health, and they hadn't been able to reach him, to those up in New York. So please, if you're there, you're watching, reach out to him. Let him know I've been trying to reach him, okay, to get him on the air. But Alton Maddox told me how the boys in New York had flipped Al Sharpton. And they had I think he said a 73-count indictment on Al Sharpton. And that's one way they flipped Al Sharpton, around the whole Tawana Brawley case and everything else. And Al Sharpton was working for them. You can pull up the article, I think it was Joe Spinelli, an FBI agent, who said Al Sharpton is our little bitch now. The Sharpton worked for them. Then, of course, when Al Sharpton ran in 2004, I think it was 2004 he ran for president, and the Village Voice wrote about how Al Sharpton's whole campaign was financed by Roger Stone. Now, Roger Stone is the white guy that's friends with President Trump. Stone, I think he's in court now as we speak. I think the judge might have threw it out. But I know brother sent me a picture of Dr. Randy Short, who's a friend of Roger Stone, and Dr. Short went as to support Roger Stone. But again, I may have brother Randy Short come back on and talk about the trial and everything that was going on regarding Roger Stone as well. But all this came out about Al Sharpton. So Sharpton knew about Comcast. In fact, when they was getting ready to have the merger a few years ago between Comcast and Universal, Sharpton and them was silent about it, man. Then was the time to make some noise to stop that merger from going down, right? Which became like the largest entertainment entity, right, in terms of Comcast and Universal. Sharpton them ain't say nothing. NAACP ain't say nothing. In fact, I don't know if Byron Allen said anything at that time, man. So all I'm saying is, peep the whole scene, as Tupac said, and whatever's going on around you. But what I don't want, as Attorney Alton Maddox said, this ain't about civil rights as much as it is about silver rights. Because most black folk ain't got no $20 billion. The average black person can't even pay them high Comcast cable rates, man. Nobody taking them to court about that, right? In terms of them. Now, what happens is, like you hear him with the proper TV show, the black folk watch Power. Now, I think I've only seen maybe 3 episodes of Power. But as soon as the owners of Power found out that they was no longer going to be carried by, was it Comcast or was it Comcast or the other one? Then they started saying, call your cable subscriber, whatever, right? Stars, yeah. Right, Star. The problem I got is how Comcast in this city has gotten to be the monopoly over the cable in Baltimore City, right? See, we're not talking about, everything begins at home, man. And the way that happened was with Martin O'Malley, the Teflon Don leprechaun. Martin O'Malley and the Kern family I know people that was doing cable, man, and they couldn't get the contract. So Martin O'Malley and then your Congressman Elijah Cummings had oversight, because this would come before his committee. Now, the only thing he would do is shake Comcast down and get some money to give to his wife, right? Now, Ken Harris had worked for Comcast, and the only thing that Comcast every year would do to control Cummings was they would write a check to sponsor Elijah Cummings' Congressional Black Caucus dinner, man. And then BG&E would sponsor the other part of his dinner. So Ken Harris would have a $50,000 check that he would take down there, man. So that's how Comcast got to be this monopoly. Elijah Cummings could have stopped it. You understand? Kwesi Mfume could have stopped it. All this happened, man, when Kwesi was in there too. They did nothing and said nothing, and nobody paid the highest cable rates in the country except in Baltimore City, man. Baltimore City paid the highest cable rates. You can forget it. You know what I mean? And that's the sad, and nobody wants to break up this monopoly. So now when they talk about the case of Byron Allen and saying it's going before the Supreme Court, all I'm saying is, how does it benefit the masses of black folk? They started saying this goes back to an 1866 law, right? Not a treaty, a law to say a black man can't enter into a contract. That's not what he's saying. Byron is essentially saying, I got 11, what he saying, he got 11 channels, and he want all of them carried by Comcast, right? So there are other carriers other than Comcast, right? Cable carriers. There's Cox Communication down south, right? Yeah. So the question is, does Cox carry his stations? Does DirecTV carry his stations, right? I'm just asking that. I don't know. But if they don't, then is he suing Cox? Is he suing Direct, right? And how does it benefit the masses of black folk? When I did just a little research, I want to know, how many black folk work for Byron Allen Company, man? Right? How many black men, black women he employing? You know what I mean? Right? I'm just asking those questions, man. Because I looked at it and said he had another company, and then he changed the name of it in 2017. It was called CE or CA or something like that. And he changed it now to this new name that he got since 2017. So you don't know if he filed bankruptcy, right? Most time people change the name, they got because they filed bankruptcy, right? So I just got questions rather than get moved by emotions, right? Of what's really going on here. And that don't mean I'm hating on Byron Allen or nothing else. I'm just asking questions. Nobody's going to tell me to get in line to go along with this, and I should hate Trump because this Trump Department of Justice is fighting. So what did Obama Department of Justice do? You know what I mean? Don't change the rule now when Trump comes in, right? You didn't say that when Obama was in there. I do know Byron Allen had some things to say about Obama, but Carl sure wasn't going to let him keep coming on talking about Obama. Because, again, way Kathy Hughes and Radio 1 and TV 1 them was making money off Obama from black folk. No, they won't let you keep coming on talking about Obama. Be clear about that. So I'm just asking questions in terms of how does that benefit the masses of black folk who pay these high cable bills in Baltimore City and the state of Maryland and around the country with Byron Allen's lawsuit, right, going before the Supreme Court, man. That's at a time when again, black voting rights, of course, were stripped by the Supreme Court. You didn't hear Sharpton and them say nothing about that. You didn't hear them while they was running around championing gay rights, championing undocumented immigrant rights, right? Nobody said, well, how about the Section 4 and 5 of the Voting Rights Act, right? Now the Democrats are introducing a Voting Rights Act. You know why they're introducing it? 2020 election. You understand? They want to use it as a football, a political pawn on black folk. As Malcolm X said, you put them first and they put you last because you a chump, a political chump. They're going to wait till the 2020 elections, right? Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and all the rest of them. They done bought up DACA. They done bought up NACA. They done bought up everybody else's rights right now, right? Everybody. Now because you're getting close to the 2020 election, right? Now they want to pretend like they want to tie in voting rights, man. That's the sad part. They use our people like that. Social engineer our people like that, right? And then they'll come around. I agree with what Trump said. They ain't been thinking about you, man. For the last 50 years, 60 years, some cases the last 100 years, man. Right? But they say Black Lives Matter. There ain't been no Black Lives Matter laws. Ain't been no introduced, man. Right? So come on, who's zooming who in the words of Aretha Franklin, man? So you tune to the state of the city. So we'll keep an eye on this Byron Allen case, but I got more questions that very few people want to ask them. You start asking questions, they say, you hating on Byron Allen, man. Why don't we just get along? Why don't we just get in line and help the brother? He got $20 billion. How am I help him? You know what I mean? That's like Bob Johnson having BET before he sold it to, what's his name, Sumner Redstone? Who now you talking about Syndicate? Who really real name is Maury Rothstein. You know that, right? Sumner Redstone. Yeah, he on CBS, right? So, but that's like Bob Johnson saying Comcast is no longer carrying BET. Some cable, what's the word I'm looking for? Cable stations, outlet, they don't carry TV1, right? So you hear Kathy Hughes taking them to court because of that. Find the ones that do carry it, right? That's all you do, man. But don't come to me now when they ain't been carrying it all this time, and all of a sudden the masses of black folks supposed to be mad. And you gonna say this is about civil rights? Say, no, this is about your silver rights, right? It's about Byron Allen getting paid, man. $20 billion, right? And all I'm saying, I just want to know how many black folk Byron Allen employing, man. How does it benefit, right, the masses of black folk, man? That I'm supposed to say, I'm supposed to be mad with Trump DOJ, but you wasn't mad with Obama's DOJ. You wasn't mad with Eric Holder. When they was going along with it as well. That's all I'm saying, man. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. That's the bottom line. Now, quickly, before we open up the lines at 404-436-1277, saw my brother Irritated Genie, who I got to reach out to and get back on, talking about this Harriet Tubman movie. I went to see the movie, and man, I'm just telling you, I despised it. Now, I didn't know that the lady Cassie Lemon, but it really was written by a Jewish woman by the name of, what was her name? Lundberg. First name was Daniela Lundberg out of Chicago, right? I did not know, again, y'all mad with Comcast? Who distributed that Harriet Tubman movie? Comcast, right? What's that group? What's that subsidiary of Comcast called? Freedom Focus or whatever? Focus Freedom? That's Comcast. All they did was change the name to protect the guilty, okay? Comcast, Universal, and y'all went to see Harriet Tubman. So if you're mad with Comcast, why you gonna see Harriet Tubman? All you doing is putting money in their pockets, man. All right? Connect some dots. Do something practical and tactical and give that to our people to do that. Okay? And I ain't talking about boycotting it the way ADOS was talking about it because what Cynthia and Vero said or anything like that. Okay? But I got to go see it so I can talk about what I saw. Now, all the movie was a feminism being pushed on Harriet Tubman, man. That they was talking about Harriet, and again now let me tell you what I read, and I'll show you the articles, you can read it. They said Disney had this movie, man. Disney, that's why it was a PG-13. Disney been sitting on this movie since 2007. They said they didn't want to make a movie about slavery because, again, the girl Deborah Chase Martin, who they went and got and gave her the cosign, then Cassie Lemon. I didn't know this girl Cassie Lemon was the one who did what was it, Ease Bayou? And you know how they made Sam Jackson look in Ease Bayou, right? So you kind of had an idea how they was gonna make this movie after that. Once you know she did Ease Bayou. She hadn't done another movie since Ease Bayou, right? So she couldn't just ease by me with that once I knew that. So now Harriet Tubman in the movie, they don't show what happened to her to have these seizures that she was having, or these where she would collapse, right? But she had been hit in the head. So they didn't want to show that. I guess that's violence against children. They couldn't show that, right? So it's a PG-13 movie, but Life on a Plantation wasn't no damn PG-13, right? But the telling thing was when Harriet went back for her husband, and he thought she had died when she jumped over this bridge in the movie, right? So when she came back for him, his name was John, but when she got up to Philadelphia, she met John Steele, and he said to her, you should take a new name with your freedom. Didn't happen like that when you really know the true history. That's why it's called a biopic, this Harriet movie. So she said, I'll be Harriet Tubman. My mom's first name was Harriet, right? And my husband's last name was Tubman, so she took Harriet Tubman, right? In reality, he called her Moses, and it's the name that was given to her. So now she goes back for her husband. He tells her that she took another wife. And then she told him, don't touch me. So they turned it, from my perspective, they turned into the housewives of Dorchester County, where she was from, right? She didn't want no man to touch her, right? Throughout the rest of the movie, no man touched Harriet Tubman. The only one touched her was the character who they created, Marie Buchanan, as I said last week, played by Janelle Monáe, who had just come out within the past year, came out the closet, right? Said she was gay, had her white girlfriend, I think, right? And then said she was a pansexual. Now, when I saw the trailer in which Harriet is getting ready, somebody showing Harriet how to shoot the gun. Wasn't a man showing her how to shoot the gun, right? It was a woman. So as I said, that's a sex scene. And if you don't know, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing in her book, The ISIS Paper, she talked about what the gun represents. That's the male sex organ, okay? It was always called the Great Equalizer. If you don't believe me, read the chapter, Dr. Welsing's chapter on the gun, okay? I'll give it to you. I know some of y'all, you act like you from Missouri, the show me states. You don't believe grits is groceries and eggs is poultry, right? So I got to give it to you straight from Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, and what she talks about the gun as a symbol. So when I saw the picture of Janelle Monáe character holding Harriet Tubman in the gun and say, now you pull it back like this, right? So later on in the movie, remember that scene? Because later on in the movie, when Harriet Tubman is getting in the bathtub, Janelle Monáe character looks back at Harriet Tubman getting in the tub naked. Then after Harriet Tubman comes back from telling Mary Buchanan that her husband had took another wife because he thought she was dead, there's the scene of Mary Buchanan, right, Janelle Monáe, bathing Harriet Tubman. Not bathing her because she just got whipped by the master or anything. She back in Philadelphia. She's brushing her hair while she's naked in the bathtub, man. That's the lesbianism that's being superimposed over the movie that's being sent out to the masses of our people for the most part, right? So I really didn't like the Harriet Tubman movie, but I keep saying it wasn't targeted to the adults. This is targeted toward our children and future generation of rewriting the history of Harriet Tubman, right? Saying Harriet Tubman was a feminist or Harriet Tubman was a lesbian. Because even when the guy John Steele, who brought her in to be a part of the Underground Railroad system, when he was taking a photo with her, and she had the dress on, for those of you that remember the picture, he reached out to her and touched her hand. And she pushed her hand away from him, right? So it was essentially saying Harriet didn't want a man. And even when you listen to what Janelle Monáe character said to Harriet Tubman when she was in the bathtub, she said, what does a man know, or how do a man know, right, to please you, a woman who's been touched by God, man? I said, my God, listen to what she's saying. She was essentially telling her, you don't need no man. And she's there brushing her hair, man. But most people, this might have just went over your head because you didn't see it in the movie. There's a lot more I could say about the movie, man. But I was yeah, that's the scene right there. That's the gun. Now, I could get into the colors they wearing and everything. The black over the white with the purple, the blue dress. But I'm not going to get into all the symbols of what they represent. All you need to do is see the gun, man. And know that the gun, that represents the male organ, which they call it what? Cocking the gun, right? Called the cock. That's what the white man called in his dirty language. He called his organs his cock, right? When you got happy hour, what they call it? Fruit cocktail, right? See, they are, what they doing is, all this in the book, ISIS paper. They reenacting that, man. You understand? So, essentially, this is what they was doing in this movie, Harriet Tubman. So once you saw that scene, you know that was going to be portrayed as her partner in the whole movie, man. And when other people was being killed, and when they had the Fugitive Act and you had the insurrections up in Philadelphia and they had to leave Philadelphia, she ran back to the house. She didn't go check on her family. She told them, let the family go. She ran back to check on Mary Buchanan. Nobody else, man. Right? And then the guy who they named Gideon, who never existed, but Gideon, when you Google what Gideon means, the one-armed man. So in the movie, if you saw the movie, she shot the white guy who had came to capture her, right? She shot him in the hand, and he had one arm after that. So all that was, again, a biopic, but they was really literally rewriting history of our beloved true Harriet Tubman. Now, this at the same time, the movie comes out where I know there's the fight to save Harriet Tubman's home in Mount Vernon, and you ain't heard the movie producers say anything about that, right? And you ain't heard all those that have been talking about the movie that they going to visit the home, we're going to save the home. I don't know what they saying up in New York about the home, right? But again, it might be sitting in the opportunity zone. We got to find out. You know what I mean? They start moving on your home. You might be in the opportunity zone, man. They say, time's up. You know what I mean? So, but again, we got to fight to keep our legacy, protect our legacy. As we always say, respect our legacies and never, ever neglect our legacies, man. So with that, I'm going to open up the line so we close out by 9:30. I think we can take till 9:30. Is that good? 404-436-1277 if you want to get in on the conversation. And next week, I got to go deep on the impeachment inquiry, but this ain't nothing but a sideshow. And if it don't go the way Nancy Pelosi think it's going to go, she gonna shut it down this week, man, because they thinking they going to use this impeachment. Impeachment to them is the, who now you saw what Trump is making all of them come out. Bloomberg said he going to run, the fascist Mussolini Bloomberg, and ain't nothing that y'all can tell me Trump said about the Central Park 5 that Michael Bloomberg didn't do to the Central Park 5. Bloomberg could have released them from prison. Bloomberg, check the record. Bloomberg said they ain't getting no money from him. That's what check the record. Some of you running around here sucking off Michael Bloomberg's money, man. And that's a lot of the mayors around this country and radio talk show hosts. Stop and frisk. Bloomberg said, and we got the videotape, and we'll play it next week. Bloomberg said, if you want to stop crime in New York, just stop black males, is what he said, man. Now, that's what a Jew said that, Michael Bloomberg. And some of y'all ain't got the testicular fortitude to open your mouth up about Michael Bloomberg because his money flowing in the cities. When he came here earlier this year, the governor rolled out the red carpet for him. In fact, your governor's crime agenda is Michael Bloomberg. In fact, the spy in the sky, that's Michael Bloomberg greenlighting that, man. Okay? Your bike lanes that's cutting up your streets down to one lane, that's Michael Bloomberg money. These every town for gun safety. These mothers of murdered sons, where do you think they're getting that money from? Michael Bloomberg. The state's attorney, all them assistant state's attorneys she got, that's Michael Bloomberg money he sent down here from New York, man. I'm telling you what I know. So Bloomberg, the globalist, is coming out. Tom Steyer, the other globalist. Trump is making all them. Hey, look, man, the mask is coming off, bro. That's all. They desperate right now. The mask is coming off of them. So I love to see us going down right now. As I said, it ain't our fight. But I like the fact that all of them are coming out, man, in 2019 right now. So next you'll probably see Schwarzenegger come out. Remember, Schwarzenegger was tied to the Bush family, man. You probably see Schwarzenegger come out. That was the plan some years ago. They was going to run Bloomberg and Schwarzenegger, okay? So you'll probably see that. You're going to see, what's his name, say he might come out. The real Bain, the guy that's the chairperson for Bain Capital, Obama's BMF, DeVal Patrick. The ones that's tied to the methadone clinics is Bain Capital. So you're going to see them coming out, man. That's how all of them going to come out. You're going to see Hillary Clinton say she coming back. You know what I mean? I told you it's like acetate what they call that, the pony swim? They all coming out right now. I'm just sitting back watching, man. That's the fight that's going on. So, and Trump will be reelected. And like I said, most of them will be rounded up going to Guantanamo Bay, and the revolution won't be televised. But I think the executions may be televised, but they'll be televised over the internet. You know what I mean? And you see where Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter, said they ain't running no presidential campaign ads, man. No ads, man. No, so you know, now he had no problem when Obama was running, right? Right? But now Trump won, and this is after they said to the polls that in 2016 that Hillary Clinton was going to win, man. So Hillary Clinton loses. Now all bets off the table. They got to shut down every venue in terms of information getting out to the people, man. So again, as the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, you ain't got to condemn a dirty glass, just put a clean glass next to it. So obviously they can't condemn Trump for they say it's dirty, and they don't have a clean glass to offer up for our people, man. Or to the American people, black, brown, red, yellow, and white. So all I say, stay watchful, stay vigilant, keep your eyes open. And again, fake news is real right now, man. You saw that CNN Journalist of the Year say he quit because most of this news they've been reporting been fake, man. So you're going to have a lot more coming out right now, or they're going to be bought out. But if you want to get in on the conversation, 404-436-1277, or you can post your comments on Facebook as well at Radio on Fire. But if you want to get in, 404-436-1277. With that, I'll turn it over to you, my brother, if we got any calls up on the line or if we got any comments on the Facebook page.
Yes, we have some. We need more movies about important historical figures like Tubman, but they should portray history accurately and not glamorize it to make it fit the modern narrative.
Right, I agree. And I saw one of my sisters was talking about Janelle Monáe was in Hidden Figures. And then she also, her first movie they put her in was that pedophile movie. What was it called? Pedophile movie. But I like the way David Icke say pedophiles. That's what they are. But that was Moonlight. They put her in that movie. You know what I mean? Moonlight. And gave him a picture of the year, right? Remember they got up on stage pretend like it was a mistake, right? The guy said it was Tomorrowland, and they said, no, it's Moonlight, right? Come on, man. Y'all had to see right through that. And then the two people who they got upstage to do it was Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway, right? Who was in what's that movie they was in? Bonnie and Clyde? Right. Some real getaway gangsters, right? That's Hillary and Bill, Bonnie and Clyde. They was down there in Arkansas. So let's take the next comment.
Harriet was boss. I was full of pride, then rage, then more pride, then more rage. Long and short, it was a powerful movie, like The Passion of Christ.
It was a powerful movie? Okay. That person they got a right to their opinion. It was a powerful movie, but again, all them lesbian overtones, you couldn't miss it. The feminist overtone, you couldn't miss it. So, you know, that's like the message. Yeah, that's the message that that Danielle Lundberg, the Jewish woman, was putting out there, man. And Deborah Chase Martin and Casey Lemon. And now the girl is supposed to be doing Aretha Franklin. So they got two Aretha Franklins coming out, right? One with Jennifer Hudson. Think they filming that now, right? And they got this one that they supposed to be doing, man. So ain't no telling what's next, bro, in terms of our legacies, man, that we got to protect. So with that, you see when they came out with the news story the other night, talking about Whitney Houston, right? Talking about she was a lesbian, right? Yeah. So that's now that ain't new news to those of us that know the whole history of Whitney, right? But why now are they bringing it out, right? So that's what you got to look at. The girl Crawford got a book out. Robin Crawford got a book coming out, right? Yeah. So you're like, damn, man, we're a Whitney Houston family. They can't stand up for her legacy after they killed her, after she was a blood sacrifice, right? Right? I mean, it's the same script with what they did with Phyllis Hyman, right? Same script for the most part. You know, so who's next? So same thing with Aretha Franklin. Clive Davis benefits, right? Clive Davis benefit from Whitney Houston. Clive Davis benefit from Phyllis Hyman, right?
That is.
Yeah. So watch it. Same script. So with that, come back to the next call or comments if you want to get in on the conversation. 404-436-1277. Next comment, my brother.
Will she get on the $20 bill?
No, she's not gonna be on the $20 bill. Jackson's on there for a reason, man. The first picture you see Trump put up when he became president was Andrew Jackson, man. It's the symbolism. Jackson was anti-bankers. Jackson was anti-Masons, man. See, that's the symbol. Trump knew what he was doing when he put that up there. You understand? Jackson wasn't going along with the international bankers, man. So that was, Trump was telling them, Trump told them, look, we not giving up American sovereignty. We not part of what the globalists are pushing right now. See, that's the fight. And that's what they don't like. Trump is telling them that. We not going along with this globalist agenda. We not going along with the Paris Accords. We not going along with this climate change BS, man. Y'all manipulating the climate through HAARP and through other weather control devices. But we not submit. That's the Pope. Remember when Trump first got in there? See, that's part of the forces that's fighting. Pope was coming out against Trump. Then when them Knights of Malta told Bergoglio or Francis, sit down and shut up, he sat down and shut up. You understand? So you begin to see who really calling the shots, right? So they say, we backing Trump because he got something to do. That's all. So we're going to let it play out and see how this thing plays out for the most part. So Bergoglio backed up off of Trump. Then he invited him over to Rome. But normally, they go within the first year. Trump went like last year. That was it. They told him back up off of him. That was the bottom line. They told him don't go to the inauguration. The guy, what's his name, out of New York, right? That's the Pope, like, right-hand man in New York, right? What's his name? You know what I'm talking about, though, right? Yeah. That's his right-hand man. And you know, after the president win and the person that they run against, they always have like a roast in New York. You know that, right? They have a big to-do thing with the cardinal up in New York. You see Trump and Hillary didn't go, right? They had Obama there with remember Obama went with who was that Obama ran against? Romney, yeah, they was there together, right? Yeah. See, Trump and them ain't go, man. It ain't happening that way. You understand? Yeah. They wasn't burying no hat. They wasn't burying no axe here. They ain't burying no hatchet. You understand? No, because you're talking about the globalists, right? In terms of the nationalists. So that's part of the fight, man. Trump making chess moves. Play by the rules, though. When you get in against them, there are no rules. You don't play with what rules? They broke all the rules. They perverted everything. They hijacked the government. Rules? What rules? You know what I mean? No, power only respects power. You know what I mean? So that's what you got to do. The Bushes don't play by no rules. Clintons don't play by no rules. You know what I mean? So that's how you deal with them. That power only respects power, man. So that's it. Next comment. Yeah, let's see. I think I got some.
No, I got one. Okay, so as Baltimore braces to surpass 300 homicides, how can the mayor say that the city's leadership is not the problem?
Leadership is the problem. It's not about police. We got more police in this city based on population than other cities. It's about the deployment of the police officers, right? Same way they protect University of Maryland employees, Johns Hopkins. Take the police officers, put them out the cars, and put them in those booths, right? You put them in the most dangerous corners, right? You know how they be talking about like the squeegee boys? Put the police officers in the booth down there on Martin Luther King, right? You understand what I'm saying? Crime is a result of we always say you need three things: time, tool, opportunities, man. All you want to do is interrupt time, tool, and opportunity. And deployment of manpower. That's all the mayor has to do. But he hands off with the police department. When O'Malley was in there, O'Malley told them boys what to do, man. So that's what you got to do. And so you got the budget in the city, the police department, and this is the results of what we get. But they always can get all this overtime, right? Abusive overtime. Yeah. So he got to take responsibility. If he gonna take responsibility for the crime rate when it comes to the real estate, he got to take responsibility for the crime rate, right? Right? So don't take responsibility for the crime rate. Don't want to take responsibility for the crime rate. That's all. But if he wasn't doing nothing when he was a city councilman and the city council president, he ain't gonna do nothing as the mayor, man. So that's just the true bottom line. And don't talk about crime in the streets if you ain't gonna talk about crime up in the suites, man. You talking about, well, when it get cold, the gangsters may not kill nobody. I remind them that Sean Suiter's second year anniversary is coming up Saturday the 16th. Last I checked, it was cold outside when that happened, right? So come on, Jack. You know how stupid he sounds saying some stupid, you know what I mean? Idiot. What's that movie called? Idiocracy. You know what I mean? It's just idiocracy to say something like that, man. You supposed to be running a democracy, not idiocracy down there in City Hall. But, stupid is as stupid does, and idiot is as idiot does. So, next comment, my brother.
I have a question for you. Yes. Rockamore said, attorney Larry Gibson and Kwaisi, you can't fool me, yes, contacted her 36 hours after her husband died to talk about politics. Larry Gibson denied that today on Larry Young's show. Yeah. Can you please talk about that?
Well, again, as I always say, these are the black boule, right? Elitists who only come out in the black community when they want to use the black community, right? Or go in and out the black community like they go in and out Mondawmin Mall. Very, very seldom will you see a Larry Gibson or a Kurt Smoke or Kwesi Mfume in Mondawmin Mall, right? So it's only because the Jews are desperate, as I keep saying, that have controlled the 7th Congressional District, siphoned off all the money and the resources and services that's supposed to come in the 7th Congressional District and use it as their slush fund, right? To divert money elsewhere, right? So they can't chance that somebody else is going to get in that seat. So let's be clear. I'd rather spend more of my time talking about what's happening to the citizens in the 7th Congressional District than waste my time talking about whether Larry Gibson is lying. Larry Gibson always lie, okay? Kurt Smoke always lie. Kwesi Mfume always lie. When the whites decided to carve up the 7th Congressional District and move the 7th District into Baltimore County and Howard County, Larry Gibson ain't filed no lawsuit to stop it. Kwesi Mfume ain't filed no lawsuit to stop it. Cummings didn't file a lawsuit to stop it. Rockamore Cummings didn't open her mouth up about it, man. So they've been piecemealing and stealing the 7th Congressional District for the last 23 years without any opposition. The only person that filed a lawsuit was Clarence Mitchell IV. And you know where he is now, right? WBAL radio station, man. On a white conservative radio station. Who would ever thought that, man, Perrin Mitchell got to be rolling over in his grave? Clarence Mitchell Sr., you know what I mean? The lion in the den, as they called him, right? He got to be rolling over in his grave. His great-grandson or nephew got to be on a white conservative radio station that for years hated the Mitchell family. You know what I mean? Now he on there crying for Elijah Cummings, and if it wasn't for Elijah Cummings turning his back on him, he didn't endorse him for that seat when Martin O'Malley and them ran that black woman, Verna Jones, against him, man. So this is what's been going on. Let's talk about that. I don't want to spend my time talking about Larry Gibson. Larry Gibson and them only come out when them Jews send them out, man. That's all. They gatekeepers. They don't really care about the masses of black people. Ask them what pro bono cases have they fought to help the fight and the plight of the masses of black people, man. They not fighting no cases. They keep calling him Professor Larry Gibson for what, man? Who is he doing? To make more Negroes, right? That ain't doing a damn thing for our people, but have contempt for the masses of our people? These are boulets, man, okay? Sigma Pi Phi members, they're gatekeepers. In some instances, they're gatekeepers, okay? They're not looking out for the masses of black people. So I really don't like wasting my time talking about whether Larry Gibson, what he said. If Elijah Cummings wanted Rockamore to have a seat, he would have gave her a seat. He would have called Belinda Conaway to register wills. He would have had her to put together a letter. He would have wrote up a letter. They said the last thing he did before he died was did what? Signed some subpoenas for some undocumented immigrants. Is that what they said? For some immigrants? They didn't say the last thing he did was to sign a letter that was notarized to say his wife should have a seat, right? So even on his deathbed, he wasn't thinking about that wench, man. If we play that story straight, right? Even on his deathbed, he was looking out for some undocumented illegal immigrants, but not for the woman that you tell me he laid with for the last 8 years of his life or whatever that they've been married, since what, 2012? Right, or 2008? So you mean he couldn't sign something for her on his deathbed? Just put EC on there, you know what I mean? Right? So come on, man. I mean, if you play that story straight, bro, he wasn't thinking about giving that wench the seat, man. So that's all I'm saying. And she get no empathy or sympathy because I keep saying his 23 years, 12 terms of being in that seat, it was an inauguration. They don't have coronation. She in the wrong country if she thinks she gonna have a coronation, all right? It don't happen in the United States of America, okay? Only in England. So she married the wrong person. She should have married Prince. What's that one? Merkel. What's her name? Merkel married. What's her name? Markle. What's her name? What's her name?
Merkel.
Yeah.
Markle. Yeah.
Yeah. Who did she marry? Prince Harry.
Harry.
She married the wrong person. She should have married Prince Harry then. And she wanted a damn coronation, right? She should have married Harry. That's what she should have went. You know what I mean? But she married Cummings. She married the frog, not the prince. Next comment.
This one says that Kim, how you say her name? Classic?
Classic? Is that the one that's the stripper or the dancer?
She should get the seat.
Kim Classic. And she's a Republican. She got to go up against a couple of sisters that's Republicans like Reba Hawkins that's running. There's another sister who's running as well. So Classic, only thing I know is her claim to fame was that she brought up the conditions existing in the 7th Congressional District, right? So if that's true, I should run then, right? Ain't nobody talking about the 7th Congressional District like I had long before she showed up. And I ain't no stripper. You know what I mean? So I should run if that's the case. Damn, everybody else jumping in the acetate to swim, right? I'll throw my hat in the ring, huh? Run for the 7th Congressional District.
Well, here's another one about that. Joe Carter is going to announce Tuesday on a platform of ending mass incarceration, providing health care for all, and promoting peaceful foreign policy. She's going to announce at Billie Holiday statue. In
front of Billie Holiday statue? That's fine.
In West Baltimore.
That's fine. If I was her, I'd announce right there in front of the Ideal Bank. Talking about we need more black banks. See, the last civil rights, as the great George Frazier, who does Frazier Networks, talked about, is closing the economic gap, man. And we gotta have economics, because the old saying goes that politics without economics is symbol with no substance, right? And you know the old saying, no finance, no romance. And romance without finance is nonsense, right? So we gotta have black economics. We gotta have black. In fact, one of the elders will be here, I think, this Saturday. Reality Speaks is bringing in Dr. Claude Anderson to talk about just that, man. So we gotta have economics. We've lost, again, Ideal Bank, which was right there in the 1600 block of Judo Avenue. Advanced Bank, which is right up there at Mount Hope Drive, man. Again, so we gotta have banks. But again, we will see what happens with attorney and State Senator Joe P. Carter. But again, if we really loved our people, we would have sit-downs like Parent J. Mitchell did with the Goon Squad, the Black United Front with Mr. Willie Adams, and look at this strategically as if we're playing a game of chess, man. Don't give up certain strategic positions, right? Because something else may come up or something else looks promising. Well, we got to have people that can be a part of a team. Right now, it's like every person for themselves for the most part, man. And very few do I hear, not talking about the masses, but are currently, right, fighting for the masses of our people, man. That's all. I always say if a person won't fight for you, then they may not be right for you. If they won't stand strong for you, they might be wrong for you. You know what I mean? They won't speak for you, they might be too damn weak for you, right? And ain't none of them standing up with Sean Suiter's wife. Why would I waste my time listening to him? Don't tell me about what you're going to do for civil rights, what you're going to do for this black woman who are 18-year veteran of the police department, gave 18 years of his life, and his wife and children out here, talking about they got to go to war to get the murderers and to get the truth out, where all these people, civil rights, churches, and those say they want to run for something, won't stand with this woman. Imagine that, man. White folk would stand up. If this was a white police officer, white folk didn't want to run for office, they'd be standing with this white woman, man. But there's a black woman, and ain't none of them standing with her. That's the shameful part. I wouldn't listen to none of them. They ain't even sent out an email about it. You know what I mean? They ain't even sent out a letter to the press about it, right? So charity and clarity and parity begins at home, man. Don't tell me you want to end mass incarceration and all of these injustices, and here's a time of the years I keep saying where the governor start pardoning people. Ain't none of them gave a list of people to the governor to pardon, excommunicate, vacate sentences, right? I mean, none of them, man, right? Here's their opportunity. So, I mean, like, come on. I mean, yeah, so all this is just to get the hype at the mic and get some free publicity for the most part. But what are they doing when the microphones are off? What are they doing when them cameras are turned off to make the condition of the masses of our people better, right? If they was doing it, they sent it out. They send it right now. Oh, here's the list of people I sent to the governor. Tell Brother Muhammad, here's my list right here, right? They ain't send no list to the governor, man. They ain't even have no conversations about that. That's the sad part. As we closing out 2019, man, they'll be talking about pardoning turkeys in a few days, right? But not men and women that's in prison. So we can take maybe one or two more. I know it's getting close to that hour.
Okay.
I'm gonna hold you up, my brother.
Trump told us that Democrats care more about illegals than they do blacks in America.
It's true. They got sanctuary cities. What's that book that years ago I had a copy of? And without sanctuary, black people have no sanctuary in this city, man. You know what I mean? You can't stop. The ACLU sued Baltimore City and ICE because they said they was using them tag readers to pull over illegal immigrants, right? Man, they use them tag readers all day long. In fact, they sit out in the middle of the street up and down York Road, right? Liberty Road. I know brothers' tags are clean and they take the back way home so they don't have to deal with that crap. You understand? Right? black women, any little thing, minor infraction you have on your car, you can have a cracked windshield, right? Not the whole headlight out, just a portion of the headlight, but you getting pulled over. Whoop, whoop. You know what I mean? Right? That's true. But they tell why y'all pulling over the illegals? Why y'all doing that to them? They do that to black people all day. They do that to black men all day long, man. You know what I mean? So you're like, come on. When will we have a respite? When will we have a refuge, right? We don't have that. So no, what Trump said was right, man. They look out for the illegal, undocumented. They putting in a DACA bill right now as we speak. Tell me they not waiting for the Supreme Court to rule on DACA. Nancy Pelosi them putting in a DACA, and all the members of the Congressional Black Caucus going along with it. They trying to push the equality. They passed the Equality Act, which ain't got them to do with no equality for us, man. You know what I mean? That's the sad part. You better not say nothing, or they'll come after you and talk about you teaching hate crime because you saying no, that equality ain't got a damn thing to do with us, man, at all. So we'll take a few more, then we got to wrap up.
All right. This is a good message for people. Drop donations at Terra Cafe or Cash App $SOTC Muhammad.
Absolutely. Any comments about Byron Allen? That's what I'm curious to know, man, because I know some of our people, they sister call me, what do you think? Byron Allen, what should we do? Like, we who? I ain't getting none of that 20 bill, am I? You getting any of that 20 bill, bro? Like what Dick Gregory said, we said when white man called him, say, Mr. Gregory, we want to ask you a question. Do you think we ever gonna find Bin Laden? Dick Gregory said, we who? I ain't looking for him. You know what I mean? Right? I'm not looking for him. So again, when they talk about Byron, like, we who? How you gonna benefit from it? You know, you just as I heard Glenn Ford say, you just a spectator and a rich man's sport for the most part. That's about it.
Somebody says that Byron Allen is bullshit. He is a sellout. He's working with them people.
Well, he is working with some people whose names I won't mention right now, but I'm watching, of course, to see what happened. I won't mention it because I know some of them, he just hating on Byron Allen. Nothing could be further from the truth. All I'm trying to do is get our people to see through the social engineering and ask the real relevant questions that we should be asking. That's all. So, next question, thought, comment?
Kaepernick is whack. Black folks got mad at me for saying things about him.
Colin Kaepernick?
Yes.
Well, again, you know, he is, we see some people get into saying because he's a mulatto. I'm not talking about a mulatto based on his birthright. I'm talking about how they use when you know how the British would use the caste system, right? In terms of the political power based on him being a mulatto, how they try to use him as a weaponized celebrity against the masses of black people, and then say his standing up is tantamount to what Muhammad Ali did, and all of that, of course, was just some Freemasonic, again, symbolism in terms of what he was doing and what he was pushing, and he hasn't changed no laws, and in fact, when Trump became the president, he asked him and asked the NFL players to give me a list of regresses, I mean, not regress, but list of issues that he could address, right? Now, the only three people that they didn't go to the White House, they went to Congress, right? Anquan Bolden, who they had here in Baltimore recently. What's the safety that played for the Eagles? Malcolm Jenkins and Bomosi Johnson. He was with the Patriots at the time. Kaepernick didn't go, and the rest of them didn't go. So I knew before that it was just, game. But then I saw clearly that that's what that was really all about. And then then Kaepernick started having them so-called workshop about Know Your Rights, which is based off the Black Panther 10-point program, right? He called 10 points to Know Your Rights, right?
Yes.
So I talked to Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. Fred said he met with Kaepernick, right? Now, Chairman Fred trying to save his dad home. He ain't offer up no help to Chairman Fred, right? But he would show up every December with a Fred Hampton's t-shirt on. No doubt, he'll probably show up in the next 2 weeks with a Fred Hampton t-shirt on. Now, the only black media and black people would defend these weaponized celebrities quicker than they defend Jesus, Jehovah, Allah, you know what I mean, right? But when Kaepernick said he was having his workshops, guess what the only black media he invited in? So-called black media. Sean King, right? Sean King is a white boy who pretends to be black. All this came out. He had a beef recently with D. Ray McKesson, right? Yes. Yeah, So Sean King is a white guy married to a black girl, and all of it came out. His parents outed him like Rachel Dolezal parents outed her. Yeah. Her parents say he not black, man. But he was hired by the New York Post because of money given to them by George Soros, right? So he's like a political hitman. So every time any of these racial stories break over the internet, the person that break the stories or these psyopses, right, is normally Sean King, man. So you say, well, who is he really working for? And it'll eventually come out who he's really working for. But nevertheless, the only black press that he invited in was Sean King. Nobody else. You say, well, you got the final call. And they go crazy about Colin Kaepernick, man. You know, Richard Muhammad and them, they go crazy, man. You would think he was in the Nation of Islam, where they be talking about him. You know what I mean? But you know why he was doing that? I later found out Richard Muhammad was a Kappa, and Colin Kaepernick is a what? A Kappa, right? Yeah. So that's all. That's why he was crazy about him. He looked. If I was Mr. Farrakhan, the head of the Nation of Islam, you couldn't be in a fraternity and be in the Nation of Islam. You could. Most of Muhammad used to say you couldn't be in show business and be in the mosque. He sent down a decree. You got to get out the mosque or get out of show business. Which one are you going to do? You know what I mean? He couldn't be in it, man, because you can't serve two masters. You're going to love one and hate the other. So you ain't going to say nothing negative about Kaepernick because he's your frat brother and you the editor of the Final Call and you just happen to be a Kappa. You know what I mean? And I say that out of love. Don't apply, let it fly. But I know some they going to get mad with me, you know, because they going to look out for the Kappas quicker than they look out for me, even though my last name Muhammad. What? You know what I mean? Right? They looking out for their Cap brother. Hey, I read about that in... what's that website called? Is it Stomp the Yard, I think? I think it's called Stomp the Yard, in which they talk about Colin Kaepernick. They throw it all out, and of course, you know that we talk about the girl, what's her name, the tranny he was running with, right? Black women don't ever want you to talk about that. But don't you think it's interesting? He's 32 and he ain't had no children yet, right? What man don't want to reproduce himself, right? You know what I mean? I mean, we can sneeze, next thing you know, the girl tell me she's pregnant, right? How that happened, right? He's 32, he ain't trying to reproduce himself, right? Yeah, okay, all right, okay. So take one or two more, we gotta get up out of here. Any other comments?
Yes. If Comcast wins the case, all victims of racial discrimination will face a higher hurdle in having, I guess you're trying to say claims heard in court.
Well, how does that affect black people that paying these high rates? Who's gonna file a multi-class action lawsuit against Comcast if they charging more rates against black people in this city and probably in your city than they are to others in terms of their rates right now? Who's talking about those? Charity begins at home. That's all I'm saying.
So I guess what they talking about the racial discrimination.
His lawyers, of course, fight that case, and I wish him the best with winning that case. But if he's only talking about it because he wants Comcast to carry his 11 channels, right? That's what he's fighting about. You know what I mean? Once say if he wins, he got his. How does it benefit the masses of black people? Nobody's been able to tell me that yet. How does it benefit the masses of black people? Because you still gonna pay them high Comcast rates to see even Byron Allen 11 stations on Comcast, and nobody can tell me nobody tell me what progressive programs does Byron Allen have on his TV shows right now? That's all I'm asking, man. Is it more buffoonery, Tom Coonery, and buffoonery? I'm just asking. What progressive shows does he have on? Don't tell me the Wayans brothers. Please don't tell me the Wayans brothers. Okay? Because they ain't done no conscious comedy since Living Color. And that wasn't that conscious, okay? It's just people that was on there that moved on and did some other things, man. But I don't know what shows he got on any of his channels, right? I haven't heard nobody say any of that, man. They just saying, get in line, go along with what we saying, support what Byron Allen say he doing. Because this is tied to civil rights. And I'm saying, no, this is tied to civil rights. He trying to get paid, man. That's what this is tied to, civil rights, right? He trying to get paid. This ain't no civil rights. Yeah, brother, can you spare a dime? Otherwise, you give him a call, see if you can get 20 mil out of that 20 bill for the most part. He trying to get paid, and the people that's backing Byron Allen trying to get paid too. And they don't look like you and I. Let's be clear about that. So, all right, one or two more, then we got to wrap up if we got any more on there quickly.
So they're just talking about the stations that he owns.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay,
so
but they don't know no shows that come on, no content or nothing like that.
So they're small and mid-sized market TV stations.
Well, we got that part, but I can Google that part. You know what I mean? I know that. You know, right? You know, I'm just saying, what shows does he have? What's the content? Nobody knows, right?
Right.
Damn. So we gotta, all I'm doing is we gotta be very critical and analytical. Don't mean we gotta have a paralysis of the analysis, but we gotta be critical and analytical and ask some questions for sure, though. That's all. So, next question. Comment.
He should use his money and resources and influence to make some real impact on civil rights.
I agree. Most of them, but they're not doing that. or on civil rights. You know what I mean? He owns 11 stations. You got any other people he bringing along to own some stations? Don't let him be like Kathy Hughes. She want to own everything, and you ain't got nobody else she bringing along, man, that can own some stations besides her, right? I mean, that's it. And then I always said Dick Gregory helped her to really a launching pad to what she became, and she couldn't even give him a radio show over there. She gave it to a thug like Al Sharpton, man. She gave it to a rhyming, bumbling, stumbling fool like Michael Eric Dyson. You know what I mean? She gave broke back Ricky Smiley a show. You understand, man? So, well, you couldn't give Dick Gregory a show, but you gave all them a show, and it was Dick Gregory from 6 to 10 a.m. every morning that was sitting in with her. But I know why. He told me about them advertisers. They wanted to control what he was going to say. He wasn't going to let them control what he had to say.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So that's the sad part, man. And since he died, you notice she ain't giving away a Dick Gregory scholarship or nothing. You know what I mean? Nothing in Dick Gregory's name, man. After all he did for her in Radio 1, I'm like, I'm just. But again, I'm just glad I've lived long enough to see this, man. You know, people who he said was his friends. He died. I haven't seen him do anything for Dick Gregory, man. I mean, nothing in terms of keeping his legacy alive, right? I mean, absolutely nothing. So if it ain't the masses of us to do it, clearly it won't get done. That's the bottom line. So even his family, I mean, he had books, you know what I mean, that he had written, right? He had research. I mean, they hadn't even released any of that, man. You know, you're like, damn, Whitney Houston family, you know, I mean, they releasing unsealed Whitney songs and everything, right? You're like, dang, y'all ain't released nothing from Baba Dick. So I'm just watching. Like I said, glad I've lived long enough to see this, man. So, all right, with that, we got to begin to wrap up. We got any more, right? Otherwise, we got to wrap up. We got any more comments? I know we got a lot more.
Yeah, we got a lot more, but we get
till 11 o'clock, right?
Yeah, we can wrap. We get a lot more.
Man, on them comments. So let's get that closing track. But please support State of the City at Radio on Fire. Send in them cash app donations at $ Radio on Fire, all one word. We're going to podcast the show. Those that say they sometimes try to get it, it's going to be on YouTube. Right. Go back, watch it, share it with your family and your friends. And, of course, it's going to be on my Facebook page, so you're able to watch it on my Facebook page and on Radio on Fire Facebook page. So thank all of you that tuned in. Stay watchful, stay vigilant. As I always say, stay out of them stadiums, crowded places and spaces. Stay out of them.